What's going on, everyone? This is the Squad Wipe, where we're taking a look at the hypest matches from the week. I'm Jason, he's John, he's Blink. And the first match, we're going to just dive straight into it because it's all about the highlights here, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Week 3, day 1, Vikendi. There's some really great plays around the edge of the blue towards the final circles, and I'm excited to see, excited to show you guys exactly what happened during that match with XSET taking the win in finals.
They're still a little lost, but the Dean, he's running around. He has now been found out. Oh, the fight does not go Flash's way. This means that the Dean's able to pick up one secured point. He hears the footsteps. He hears the push.
There's one, and so he still gets the first down, though? What? Richie, he wants to try and unseat Asta, but it's actually Bishop that finds the shots to get it done, and that's massive. They confirmed the kill as well. That was absolutely huge. Now, 19 Esports is in a much worse position here. Mr. Cup on the outside, though. That was the player I was looking towards. He's looking at the first return down, but they're going back and forth. Oh, Cameron, what an absolute bloodbath as Ghosty is pushing in, trying to keep his team up in this. Not a single member of Defeaters has actually been taken out yet. All 3 members of 19 that were down have been confirmed. It's all up to Jacob, the player on the outside now, the last man standing.
Good angle by Neto, but wasn't able to get the knock, unfortunately. And Vikendi still pushing down. Whoa, Doc, he wants this. He knows that there was damage dealt. He has the health advantage here. He's going to push it. He's going to confirm it. This is potentially 2 kills. Make that 3 against B4, because Big Sarah is also knocked. This is a huge fight for BDM, and now Pedro is forced to retreat. Nothing else he can do right now. And if BDM look for him, they could find him running out in the open. Forces Vito to move.
There we go. Those are the shots. Sute was the linchpin. There we go. And how do you disarm the trap? 1 wire at a time. Cut the red one, Sute. Cut the red one. And this is the opportunity for the rest of the team to try and move in, but Execute cannot go too aggressively here. This is Execute now, just trying to identify where everybody is so the nades can push on in. But nice bank on the outside. But there it is. Law goes down as well. And that's the opening camera. And here comes Execute.
So much utility thrown in. It took a while, but once Execute, they ran all the calculations, ran all the numbers, and they had a perfect blueprint in their head, in their mind.
What I'm not
Meta?
Or I'm a little confused about is his positioning for Meta here. Once again pushing into another squad. This time it's Brazilian Rampage. The aggressors in they're being pressured from both sides? How did Meta put themselves in that position? Because now Team Queso is here, and the fight is not going to stop. They just witnessed Meta get absolutely demolished doing it, but part of the reason they got demolished is because they were the ones third-partying it. So now they're bringing the party to you. Move over, Hulk. Team Queso is here.
Ooh, Marco coming from the side. Him securing Sentry is crucial in continuing this fight because Nitsumed got knocked. And now it is just 2 members remaining of Brazilian Rampage on the roof. Queso are flooding over like a wave of melted cheese.
That's a visual right there. But they got to keep going. They got to secure these kills because the blue is ticking away. But boy's going, oh yes, he is going to go down. Marco, the last one standing. He sees teammates in front of him, not going to be able to get either of them back up. He's got to keep himself alive at this point. A little bit of a heal opportunity, Garcia, but no, he goes down. Where's the last member from Team Queso?
Ooh, Cat trying to save Nova's chances. They had such a good position in the circle, but here comes the rest of Execute Fame Boys once again playing. Another member on the outside. Oh, that could have been close, but Cat is holding the line.
As Loops are pushing in now on the outside, and the last remaining member of Team Queso, Axial's going for it. But wait, the vehicle shots going in there. Hang on a second. That's multiple members down. Axial's actually able to win that. He's going to blow up the vehicle, give us a little bit of cover. Kayowski is going in, going to try and secure this, get some redemption for his squad. Axial not having time to heal, not having time to even reload. Maybe jumps over him, but doesn't quite get the shot. Loops stay alive just a little bit longer, but my goodness, Team Queso not wanting to say die so easily, and now Loops is in a terrible position.
He's gonna die if he doesn't. He has one first aid kit. He spots one. Take the shot. Take the kill. Get the point, but no, it took way too long.
And he waited just a second too long, and now his potential, he's just gonna die. And Kiwang's actually they're gonna get the kill on him as well, but this opening opportunity for Raven to push on each guy, thirst the kill, and he's actually gonna be able to take the team down. XSET were not really looking over in that position, which allowed Raven to slowly but surely move his way in. But XSET are pushing in, and who's there? It's Kayowski with the shots, able to get the first down, but here's the loop around onto the Loops member. And that is going to be the pickup, the sheer weight of numbers that XSET still had at their disposal. But my goodness, Loops did not go out quietly.
Very, very down to the wire there, guys. Fantastic stuff from a lot of the players. I was really impressed with what a lot of them were able to bring to the table in that game.
Yeah, you're talking about the Unnamed there, trying to throw a little bit of a distraction play with the Raven kind of coming in to swipe them, pick them off. I was a big fan of Cat, though. His heal off at the very end, going from 5th place to 2nd place. You might look at that and be like, that's not a big deal, but that's 6 placement points. 6 points with how close the standings are right now, that could be the difference between playing the finals and not playing.
Sometimes you got to make the best outcome of a bad situation. What really stood out to me, there was Brazilian Rampage versus Team Queso. There's not a lot of teams that can go toe-to-toe with Team Queso, especially how good they are in a fight. Maybe that's the reason that Brazilian Rampage is actually able to jump so much in the standings recently.
Yeah, very true. Moving on to our next match we want to talk about here was from the same week, obviously, but we're from day 3 and yet again on Vikendi. Now, I wanted to pick this one out in particular because it was so hectic in the beginning. We got to see Queso again be stood up by another team, but again, Nova showing dominance on Vikendi, finishing with a 2nd place.
So we're seeing a lot of people surrounding the full Nova area all the way up to Castle. We're going to see a bunch of these fights. This one's actually still in the circle, XSET. They found the one team that they can run up against, and of course it's Queso.
There are literally 2 teams in this circle. There are only 2 and they found each other. They both identify with the strongest compound in PUBGMOBILE up on the high ground. He's going to be able to do so much work here. But Joey trying to take that position back. They just traded out. What is happening right now is Joey's trying to chase him down. Well, that's the opportunity for Juicy to get some shots down. Rafa is going to play anchor as the 3 members push on in. They are going to be able to get the res up onto Joey, but the damage onto Juicy is here. That's the jump shot around the corner. Duck is able to get it. An XSET short-lived victory. Well, maybe short-lived as Nico is trying to run for it, bringing the vehicle back over. The Molotov's going to go in the building, and Nico is just saying, we're getting out of here. Abort mission. And I'm not sure if it's going to be successful, but it is.
They're 19, they're moving in. BDM pulled away from Krichas quite earlier, even before we saw the INF tribe engagement. And they're trying to reset, but the push from 19 is coming. They're trying to isolate this shack.
And that's just Asta going off right there. Full send for the...
Oh, here's the rest of BDM.
Yeah, but BDM crashes into the back this as well. Dunk is here trying to make the best. No! Tricks! Put up the greatest trick of all. So many missed shots there from BDM. They had the advantage, but now INTZ is not going to let this last for too much longer. We are going to see them coming up over this hill, and 19 Esports is stuck. Jakup in the back. The shots from Poly connect. That was the key member. Everybody else for 19 Esports is just the shack keeper. Poly landed those shots because there was no other player in position to help them out. Trix is on fire, literally, figuratively. Hopefully not literally anymore, as they are finding the shots back. It's Tribe Gaming coming in with the 3rd party. Which means there's only 2 members of 19 Esports left. And Cameron, look at this hard shift again. It's gone entirely the other direction, but G25 is still up in it. Akito's going to go down, though, as Mafioso and crew are actually going to win that exchange. The Tommy on point-blank range. As G25 is trying to take over the Blank's game a lot slower, a lot more surely, but Wildcard is also here in this compound. Sunico is up, trying to gather intel for the team. Nice movement there from Mafioso to dodge at the grenades. But my question here is, Cameron, what will Wildcard do? That is the opportunity for the rest of the teams to go in, but there's still so much action happening on the outside. Influence's Rage is going to go down. INTZ is in shambles, but Darius is trying to hold on for the team as 19 Esports is pushing in. Asta and Darius. Asta with the perfect timing on that reload. They've got to try and move in, but Cameron, the blue is ticking away.
They're not in the circle anymore, but they're slowly taking control of this area, clearing their space, clearing their back. Spring gets found. That's huge.
That's huge. I mean, down by G25, confirmed by Ace. That was absolutely massive. As Cardozen is now trapped on the inside, nowhere to go. But that is going to be the end for G25, and it's Meta with the 5th party to go on in to line this one up, as Wildcard is slowly going to choke out Ace 1. And with that dream, I said, hey, you know, trying to be the boss of this compound, trying to take it over. Other teams looking to try and pay that protection money, but it's not going to be the case here. Ace will eventually go down on the inside there.
Yeah, they're able to survive this long. We saw that they were one of the teams that struggled the most coming in from the south area. We're thinking of nickname a little bit, but the Tribe trying to push in, gets a knock, but immediately traded by Rain on the off angle. And during this entire engagement...
What? G3? G3? That kill feed is still going, G3! What? That nade just killed all of Cloud9!
See, I really love the differences between that Vikendi and the Vikendi you had, John, where Execute A7 had this long, drawn-out fight where everyone's like, no, I'm not touching that. But then you have a match here where everyone's like, oh, is that a bullet sound? I'm going.
Yeah, and in the final circle as well, they were all super clustered together, everyone like hiding behind one rock and making sure that they had only one spot of control. And, you know, we saw certainly Cloud9 pay the iron price for it.
Oh, G3 with that nade was absolutely nutty. Tempo Storm equally, they just couldn't catch a break in that final circle. They were trying to get out from behind that rock, but it just was to no avail. But some insane fights there. Next map's a little bit more insane in itself, but not for the same reasons. The circle was so crazy on week 3, day 3, map 5 on Erangel there. No one really could find a good way into this circle. It ended up being 19 Esports taking it.
You're laughing, you all right?
Yeah, I'm happy. I love PUBG Mobile.
PUBG Mobile's pretty great. Let's get into it.
We always see Wildcard coming from the north. We always see Wildcard coming from the north. Maybe that's exactly why they're not coming in from the north. But this position, the off angle from Orlando of Klaze is the only thing keeping his team in this game right now. Wildcard were prepared to send it up there. But Nico and XSET are here as well. Hang on a second. This aggressive play from Wildcard is getting really sus really fast. Oh boy, yeah. Leon and crew, they're in a terrible spot.
Oh god, they're gonna have to come up with something big to get out of this, and Leon going down is not a great start to that. They're running out of resources. Having to pop so many smokes early is never a good sign, and Acer getting peeked from the high ground through the smoke. He gets taken down. Look, he has to keep paying attention towards XSET. They're torn in multiple directions.
And Spring has been tasked with one goal, one job, one mission: survive. Oh, yep. Well, failed. He failed in his mission. Okay. Well, that didn't. Okay. Well, I was really looking to hype you up there, buddy. So here we are. We're seeing the Unnamed getting picked up there by Team Queso. BDM was there in the area as well. I think it was a bit of a third party coming on in. And speaking of going on in, the nade! Acer through the smoke perfectly gets it to the how well these players know these maps. Every inch of these buildings they know down pat. And now Rambote's got to go in.
No, you're not gonna want
Acer did it once. Can he do it again? Can he do it again? Oh, it's so close, but they just go, yes, he can! Slicky is there as well, and that is 2 downs, and somehow, someway, Wildcard is keeping on in this game. XSET are rotating out. They're not being this pressure in the back, which means that in a fair fight, Wildcard are the raid boss here.
Nothing is the most optimal. Everything is always suboptimal. But Meta Lupitas getting the spray onto Influence Rage, trying to push in. Hold the fort. What? Hold the fort.
Also, Marco just ran over one of the last remaining members and plays there in the feed. His Influence Raise is pushing it now into Lukitas and crew. 3 members still up as Castile takes that 1v1, no problem. As Rolex is trying to hold on, keep something here for the team. They're both on the edge of this next circle, but both teams are going to have to rotate. Whoever wins this, whoever takes control of this now is going to have a lot more time to work with. But King A, with the VSS at range, the third party comes on in. And a small moment of respite here for Meta.
This fight might finish badly for Meta because the surround by Influence Rage. The damage, though. Influence haven't had an opportunity to heal up, but doesn't matter. Castile is prepping the grenade. Bit of a distraction from the flank. Rolex gets into it, but it's a trade, 1-for-1. Gatsby finished that point off, got the kill, 6 points overall. Because they have to push up as well. They're trying to limit the line of sight for Tribe. Because as much as they're putting pressure onto them, the pressure is also coming back in kind. This one's a full grenade out. But it doesn't matter because Ace are going to have a great position. I say doesn't matter. That's actually a very, very good nade. Ace recognizes it. He's going to push and try to get the finish on Tribe.
E3 is there though, holding strong. No! Doesn't it going down? Starlight able to pick that one up. Last man standing here for Tribe. It is King up against the world's multiple members of Nova are pushing on in. He's the last host for the team right there. But dodging, weaving, AZ in and around the tree, and Starlight is here as well as the DP. King A is trying to find the shots in the 2v1, but eventually Tribe does go down. Also gotta give props to G-Fan there on the bridge before it was too far past it, actually out-surviving Cloud9 in that situation, giving those additional points. Because every single point is gonna matter here because it's an absolute bloodbath! Nitsume, the shots! The shots on INTZ. Probably was able to get the revive there on the Vega. He's going to try to do the same in kind. Axios continuing to push, and then the M4 is here. Level 3 vest and helm. Let's make those work. Let's put him into action as Vega is just trying to hold on, but Axial's got the bead on him, is going to push on in, not let the survive go through, and these are going to be the shots. Axial not even hesitating, not a moment, Cameron, where he thought he was going to lose that fight. This is Mad Max now, because Cameron, this is actually huge, because he gets over the head to rotate in on the other side. This actually opened up an opportunity for the squad to potentially go in on underneath the bridge. This is massive, and now that the nades are coming in, Team Queso, this was the angle I don't think teams were necessarily expecting for 19, because now 19 and Ace are going to be able to take advantage of it. As going into XSET, this is massive. Nitsume is just going to try and make these shots count, confirm the kills where he can, but that is just going to be them going down. Juicy holds on. That was not the direction I thought they were going to go at all.
But luckily, I think XSET did a fair bit of damage to Dudu. He has to pull back, heal up. And now the play area is starting to close. A good grenade from Juicy to knock him. And immediately in the kill feed, 19 recognized the opportunity.
Yeah, they've got to go. They've got to go right now. XSET just created an opportunity, but if they funnel up into this area that XSET's still staring at, that could be it. Myth is going to try and get the revive, but Acid goes down to the play zone. That's a huge mistake. Sitting outside, look at his teammates, look at him. No, he was unpressured. That was an unforced error. He's going to try and crawl back in, but at this stage, that is just disaster for 19, and this is XSET pushing on in. They hated the fact that they weren't able to secure the chicken dinner in that last game, and they want to make up for it right here, right now. But Myth is holding strong, but the blue is continuing to push in, and Juicy is here in a great spot. But this was the angle I was talking about for 19, able to use this ridgeline to their advantage. This is why I said they had a pretty decent position, and now this is a straight up 2v1. But it's Juicy against the world. Gotta find the shots, gotta try and hold on. But 19 weathered the storm so beautifully in this 2v1. It all comes down to this. Cameron, can Juicy hit the shots? Does he have ammo? What is happening? He does, okay.
Just a wild game to come off the back of. I mean, those circles are ridiculous, sending people all over the place. I don't think anyone could have predicted who won that game, but 19 are able to take it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry, go ahead, John. My bad.
They were.
You're so excited to talk about that match.
Fair enough. I mean, towards the end though, it was pretty exciting. So fair enough that you were raring for it. But it was interesting though. You saw him pull the pan out behind the rock. It was out of bullets, but you know, pan does 84 base damage, so it's a fair fight when you get that close.
I mean, if you just smack the bullet back at them, what's more damage? I just loved how Queso in particular, they had I think 13 kills at the end of that match. Even though they didn't win first place, they still show how dominant they are in getting kills. But also XSET, that was one of the crucial games they needed to start moving up the rankings, and ended up at the end of the week getting up 4 placings.
Yeah, XSET and Mel, I would take it a little bit further, but thank you guys for joining us for some of the hypest matches of the week. And if you guys want to also see some of your maps, make sure to send us them over on Twitter with the hashtag SquadWipe, and we might even feature your map on the show. But until next time, guys, we'll see you later. My name's Blank, this has been Jason, and that's John.
Seen the show before, but at least that was something I could see. And now Kowalski out in the open takes down Cab, and he takes down Quinn as well. What is this? It's this one off with the first kill. It's going to be his teammate killed. Irish is knocked down. J7 finishes the both off. The balcony! Rolex spraying through the smoke, gets one. Federal as well, going to be dropped off.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for another day here of the PUBG Mobile Pro League Americas Season 2. We're into day 2 now of Week 4, which means we have today and 2 more days left of action until we have our top 16 teams locked in into the finals coming up next week, where there's going to be 4 days of play, 28 matches in total, and we'll see who's going to come out in the top 3 in that one. I'm just capping, and we got Seven and Glitter joining me, and they're clearly following suit with what I decided to wear today. They're like, you know what, Jason? You're wearing red, so I'm going to put on red as well. Is that how it worked today, guys?
Yep, that's definitely how that worked.
Yep, and you have no reason to doubt them at all because they look completely honest in this one. But no, obviously, going into like the second day right here, 4th week, there's so much pressure on these teams, and I feel like it's a completely different pressure as we were talking about yesterday for a lot of these teams here, Glitter, because if you think about it, at the start, it's like, okay, they have the pressure of playing against, you know, the best teams in the region, but now they have the pressure, if you're not in top 16 or you are just barely in top 16, to do well every match, and knowing if you make that one mistake, you could ruin your team's hopes.
Yeah, and I feel like that pressure is way worse to have on your shoulders than it is to come into the season knowing that if you make a few mistakes early on, you've got tons of time to adjust and fix them. We don't have that time anymore. Nobody has that luxury anymore. So all of these squads that we're going to be seeing that are in, this bubble area of the overall rankings, they really need to kind of light a fire under themselves and see what they can scrape when it comes to points here in the next few days.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they can do. But first of all, we should kind of get an idea of where all the teams are currently standing at the moment within our overall rankings, because I'm assuming we're going to have Team Queso still in first place here, 7. But we're also seeing that these teams on the front page, they should be safe. I don't think there's any chance, realistically, that anyone can fall off in terms of being knocked out of top 16.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I think this, if for some reason they do end up falling off, we might be a little bit worried once we get to finals in regards to the teams that are currently on the first page. I think the only thing that I'm gonna be looking at here, and I know we talked about this before, is which one out of the teams is actually gonna be able to get to the 10 chicken dinners, or is any team gonna be able to do it now? Because so far, I mean, G25 has been slacking. Loops Esports, can they ever get that win before the finals? And that's something along the lines of what you guys were talking about in regards to pressure. Can Loops Esports actually get the win before the finals, or are they gonna, or what happens if they don't get the win here during league play? How are they gonna perform going into league finals? All that kind of stuff, all those variables is what I'm gonna be looking at on the first page. On the second page, this is the one where everything gets a little bit dicey. There's a lot of teams that have improved with XSET and Execute. We've seen great stuff out of them. Execute yesterday, even though they set out their best, strongest player in Killswitch was not playing, I still feel like they performed really well. We have Cloud9, where we still kind of have those questions with Cloud9 Glitter. When is Cloud9 going to be able to wake up? And then as we go down the list, we start seeing those points, and they're super close.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a battle between all of these squads. Like you said, there's only a 1 point difference between Cloud9 and Nova. Another 3 between Nova, Brazilian Rampage. So all of these squads are going to be battling out to either maintain their position or, onto the third page, move up. As you see there at the very bottom, Tribe Gaming is holding on to 16th place, only 4 points behind the Unnamed, but they also have yet to pull down a chicken dinner. And then what's even more important here is that looking at Meta, who's in 17th place, they're currently only 1 point behind Tribe Gaming in 16th. So that is obviously doable for Meta, especially if Tribe struggles at all today. Meta should potentially be able to leapfrog above them in the overall ranking. And we're going to be watching the teams kind of going back and forth with that all day. We see Pittsburgh Knights in 18th, BDM in 19th. There is potential for any of those teams to at least get to 16th. And at that point, that's where all of their focus should be from here on out, is just that very, very last qualification spot. And then once they hit it, then they can work on moving up from there. But right now, they just need to get into the top 16.
And then thinking, into the finals, obviously, if you guys are unfamiliar with how it works, when we get into the finals, all points are reset. It's not like if you went into the finals with 500 points, you get to maintain those 500 points. You're starting on an even playing field. But the thing is, I think we're still seeing out of a lot of the teams right now that we can't safely say that we're confident enough that they're going to break through into top 3. I think Queso at that moment is the only team we're really looking at as okay, they should for sure be there. They've only been getting better week in and week out. But the other teams, we need to see something else. And maybe if you're in the top 8 right now, that's your focus, right? Have those breakout performances, because you need to be able to ride that wave of momentum going into the finals. And honestly, 7, we talk about pressure right now of getting into the top 16. What about the pressure in the finals, knowing you don't get to sit out a match in any of the days? You have to play 4 days straight, 5 games a day. And again, when it's only top 3, that one mistake can cost you everything.
There's going to be 0 time to readjust. You're going to have to readjust on the fly. And as you mentioned, right now, some of the teams are actually able to sit out a game. Maybe they have a bad game, they get to sit out the next one, go back and think about what they did wrong. Guess what? You're not going to have that luxury, because that is a luxury to have. That's not going to be available on the finals. You're going to have to think on the fly. You're going to have to make sure going into the finals, everything is 100% with your team. You guys are in sync. You guys have the set roster. As we go into the final week, we have seen a lot of roster changes between certain teams. I don't want to see that once we get to the finals. I want to see the core 4.
Well, you know what? We're talking about the finals, and obviously we still have a lot of teams trying to get into that position, even make it into the finals. So we kind of made up something nice and neat for you guys at home to kind of monitor the progress of all these teams. We have our safe zone that we want to be showing you here. And what this is going to explain for you is the predicted amount of points it's going to need to come in 16th place, 346 points. And with 3 days left, today and the next 2 days, Right now, XSET, for instance, the first team there on the list at 335 points, only need to get about 12 points in these next 3 days to potentially be safe. Now, obviously, these are predicted all based off of the average points per games from all the teams and how they've done every single match so far. So this is kind of the number we've got, but we're seeing, like, towards the end here, Klaze at the bottom. For them to be able to have a chance to qualify and hit that 346 point mark, they need to make up 109 points in 3 days, guys, and that is insane.
That is insane, especially with Klaze, because they're currently averaging about 5.5 points per game. Now, I want to go back to XSET and XSET and Cloud9, because those top three, I feel like they're currently, they put themselves at a point where they can definitely qualify, where they just need to have two good matches. And one thing that we saw out of XSET is that they've been able to break out of the pattern that they had before, that we talked about previously, where they do good one day, then they do really, really bad the next day. I feel like we're starting to see consistency out of them. We're starting to see better tactics, better execution, and I'm loving seeing that. With XQ, we have seen them now get a little bit more comfortable towards being late in the game. One of the things that we talked about XQ, it was they weren't too confident at the end of the game. They weren't able to do the 1v1s. We saw them choke at one point in Erangel. And with Cloud9, even though they are currently 41 points from that sweet spot, from that safe zone, I still feel like they'll be able to get those points. I feel like here on the next couple of days, something I mentioned yesterday, they might start picking it up, Glitter.
Yeah, I mean, and then moving on down the list, there's so many teams that I feel like we've spoken about throughout the weeks of league play so far, but all of them have yet to kind of really give us the consistency we're looking for. However, Brazilian Rampage, that's a team that we were originally looking at on the third page of the overall standings. They have been able to completely shoot themselves up in the rankings. You can see that they need 45 points there to kind of get into that 16th spot. Tribe, also on that list, is currently in that 16th place position. That is who everybody is gunning for, and like I had said earlier, Meta is directly below them with only 1 point. I mean, we have seen Meta have like these quiet games where they're just casually dropping 9 kills here, but still going out with only 1 placement point or something like that. And we also do need to pay attention to the fact that Tribe is one of now only 2 teams in the entire grouping that hasn't pulled down a chicken dinner. If Meta can kind of sneak up with those points, then Tribe definitely needs to look out for them and how they're doing. Not to mention PK is also below them. That's another team that has the potential to do well. They just haven't done it consistently yet.
And the thing is, knowing that you have either 9 or 10 matches left, depending on which team you are, there's no room for mistake. I'm going to keep saying it all day long, because right now you cannot afford to have those if you want to make it through. I mean, as you said with Tribe, right? With Meta being 1 point behind them, if Tribe has a massive misstep in 1 day, in 2 games today, like we saw happen for Alpha 7 just last week, they could jump directly behind Meta, and Meta could just take away and run with it 7.
Yeah, and I think with Meta, we might be able to see that. And just based on average points per game, I think Meta is currently averaging 0.1 point less than Tribe Gaming. That's how close of a gap that is. And that's how we want to see pretty much no team slacking for the next couple of days, especially if they want to make it to those finals. With Tribe Gaming, we always see them doing so well, and then all of a sudden things just don't go their way, or they stop working together. Yep. This is something that even going back to previous PMPLs, I have mentioned. When Tribe Gaming works together, they just have so much potential, but we haven't really seen that much out of them. And remember, they did have a switch from the beginning of the tournament to now, and that was their IGL. King was their IGL at the start of the tournament, and then they switched it up to Telly. So I think with 2 weeks now under his belt, I think everything should be squared out. The chemistry should be there, at least with the new IGL. But so far, I'm not seeing it from Tribe Gaming.
Well, I think every team right now currently in that safe zone at the moment, trying to get into the safe zone, is looking to have their own G25 week, right? Put up 224 points in a week like they did. And it all comes down to this. But one team we're looking at as potentially pulling off a performance similar to that is going to be the Unnamed, because they had a great day yesterday and far better than the averages overall here. We're going to have to talk about them, because this is the kind of results you need to have right now if you want to make it into that safe zone.
Yeah, and the Unnamed is definitely, they're a team that we've been watching for a while now, right? Because they were behind a little bit super early on in the league, and then they started to step it up. And when they did that, it got them into a really decent place on the second page. And then they had some days where they fell off, and they actually did fall all the way down to the bottom, and then snuck their way back in after a really strong performance, like you had said yesterday, Jason. You can see here that the numbers on the right are their average damage done over 3 matches versus the, and damage received, kills, etc., versus the average over 40 matches. matches, and you can see here that there is a slight improvement in every single category. You see the damage has gone up, the damage received has also managed to go down at the same time. Their kills have gone up, their average knockouts have gone up, as have their average assists. My only worry is you can see how close these numbers still are. Is that improvement enough to get them to where they need to be? Because they're currently in 15th place, right? And like I had said earlier, they're only 4 points above Tribe Gaming, and once again, who has Meta behind them in 1. So they're only 5 points above Meta. The Unnamed needs to figure out a way to maybe continue to raise those stats if they want to stay ahead of the likes of Meta and Tribe 7.
Yeah, and for me, something that I've really enjoyed with the Unnamed so far that we kind of were able to see there on the stats is that their damage has gone up and their damage received has gone down, which leads me to believe they're getting a little bit better with executing their fights. They're getting a little bit better with just being able to finish off those fights. As we saw them yesterday, they were able to get that chicken dinner. I thought that was huge for that team. And even going back to week 3, day 3, their best performance day by far this tournament, they ended up with 43 points. I feel like if they can maybe edge out an amazing day like that we know they're capable of because they've done it before, I think they might be able to just put themselves on that safe zone we were talking about earlier.
I think every team right now needs to be blasting Eye of the Tiger while they're playing these matches, because you really have nothing left to give. You have to give it your all, your 110% right now, because it comes down to this to decide if you even have a chance to get into PMGC. Let's take a look now at the matches coming up today and what maps we're going to be playing. Again, we only have 4 matches today. It's not a 5-match day. Those will be kicking off on Saturday and Sunday, and we're starting things off on Erangel, Miramar, Vikendi, and Miramar again. So another day with double Miramars here, guys, and that's an interesting factor if you're one of those teams that definitely has that in your pocket of being one of your safest maps, especially, again, if you're behind in points.
Yeah, I feel like teams, if you're in Group B, I think you get a chance to, from what I was able to see there, you get a chance to play Miramar twice. And if you're one of those teams that, as you were saying, excels at Miramar, you gotta take huge advantage of this, because I'm not really sure what the map is gonna be looking like during the weekend. I know we're gonna be going back to 5 matches a day. But if this is a chance where you can take advantage, we always say take advantage whenever it's given it to you. And if you're one of those Group B teams, take full advantage of today, please, especially if you're within that safe zone that we were showing earlier.
And right now, again, pressure building up. There's a lot of teams there I'm looking at that, again, we have like a little bit of a dichotomy, right? We have like the top 8 teams looking to end the week off on a high note so they can take momentum over. We have other teams just struggling to get into top 16. I really wonder, though, like that little extra fight that these teams are giving, can they potentially carry that over? Because this is a long event, right? We're into 4 weeks now. We still have 1 week left to go. It's not like you play for a weekend, you're done, and you have, weeks off. You're playing almost every single day here. That there has to be a whole exhaustion factor going into this, I feel like, for a lot of teams, Glitter.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they have figured out some sort of a system or a rhythm where they're using the days off in between to at least really recover, because there is, burnout's a real thing if they're not taking care of themselves in the process, and they want to be in the best, shape, whether that's mental or physical or just, health possible going into finals, because like we will keep reiterating for you guys, the points are reset. So if they, manage to sneak into the top 16, anything that could have gone wrong, they need to be able to kind of just ignore. Forget everything, fix all your mistakes, but don't hang on to any bad vibes that might have stressed you out from the first part of the season, because the finals, that's everything. That's where, that's where the big prizes are. That's where the qualification for PMGC spots are. So that's what they need to be focusing on.
But I'm glad you guys kind of mentioned mental there, because that's something I'm definitely going to be looking at in regards to how the teams are playing. Are we going to see some of the teams that are currently within that range, maybe that are currently not on top 16 but are almost there, of the likes of Meta Gaming that we're talking about, even Tribe Gaming? Are we going to see them take a little bit more of a risk in regards to fights? Yesterday, off the top of my head, I can't remember which team it was. I think it might have been XSET or Execute, but now they're at a point where they're a little bit safer, so they didn't really have to take into those early fights. And they had an idea. Actually, it was XSET. I remember just now on Miramar, they could have taken a fight with just 2 players. They would have been pushing up. They would have been at a disadvantage on that fight, but they decided not to because of the position that they're currently on in the overall leaderboards. Now, how is that going to switch for the other teams that are currently not in that position? Are we going to be seeing more risky plays?
Well, you know, we're going to find out. I believe it's time to get our commentators in here, so we'll check in with you two after the match finishes, and we have to bring in the two people who are going to be bringing you all the matches today. We've got, of course, Hot Jukes, and of course, Cameron Davis join us. Look at that, even they're matching. Everyone wearing red today. But off the bat, Hot Jukes, I'm going to drop you straight into this. Have you seen, and do you expect this trend to continue of players and teams playing so much safer? I feel like we've seen the game slow down so much in this week alone compared to the past 3 weeks.
I mean, I think that's what we have to see. We have to see these teams just play as careful as possible, not to die early. The only thing, though, is with only 3 days left, those squads that are on the bottom, the ones that we have to see have pop-off games, they can't do that. They need to frag out right off the start. So this could be that shift day where we just see all these teams just go mayhem or, you know, play it safe and do it. But I just don't think that's the strategy if you want to make it to top 16.
What about you, Cameron?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Safe play, from what I've seen, usually comes from teams being scared to make any mistakes, and that is not how you win trophies. That is not how you win events. That's not how you win a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, and so
Earn money, don't make money.
With $2 million on the line in GC, you can't afford to you know, make any of those mistakes here. But then again, I'm really wondering. I think we're going to see the teams who want to take the fate into their own hands, like you're saying, Hot Jukes, get aggressive, goes for those kills, and try to make the points. Or teams are just going to sit back and play passive and wait for things to come to them, which then again makes me think of like Cloud9. That seems to be them playing a really similar style to what we saw in World League. They're playing very passive. They're not getting as aggressive as other teams have been. But then again, they're still kind of safe at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if I was sitting right now in that kind of like 10th place range, I think those are the squads that need to play as careful as possible. And at the same time, though, if that is not your strategy, you don't want to mix it up. Because if you just start all of a sudden playing super aggressive or playing super passive, then you could really start throwing. But if you're there at that moment, you just don't want to lose any points. If you're right now on the bottom of the leaderboards, though, you got to step it up. You got to tell your squad, hey, come on, guys. Like, we need to get 50 points. We ain't going to do it just sitting around here in the early game. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully then these squads popping off.
And I'm even looking at the bottom teams. We mentioned before, Klaze, over 100 points they have to accumulate in 3 days' time if they want to potentially qualify. So maybe they have to go for something crazy. But you know what? It's time to get into our first match of the day. So why don't you two take us in?
Thank you so much, Jason. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, into the first match of the evening. It's going to be, of course, Erangel. Cameron, it's been a while since we casted together, but we're here in the final countdown, baby. These are some of the most critical, I think this is the most critical day of games. What do you think so far?
Yeah, it's always difficult to sort of judge that process because every single day is essentially weighted the exact same. There's no matchups, there's no different seeding parameters. But when you do see how many points you have already, how many points teams have in front of you, this is when you do need to make those decisions on what sort of style that you want to play. And I do want to sort of back up what you just said earlier, that the teams that are around 10th, that's sort of like lower of the top 16, but safe enough. So I guess maybe like the third quarter. They have a little bit of freedom and flexibility to play a little safe, and I think for them, because they just need to hold on to their position, playing for a little bit positionally, points-wise, is I think maybe a better decision, because there is a high risk, high reward for going aggressive with the teams that are at the bottom of the top 16, or then even just chasing that. They cannot let the game get away from them. That being said, we don't want them to just run aggro at anything and everything in front of them. Battle Royales and PUBG is all about getting the points that you have available in front of you, whether that is a 20-kill win or a 5-kill 8th place. Sometimes that's the most that you can get, but the best teams always are able to make the best out of every single game, whatever that might look like.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see the consistency of some of these top teams. I mean, Team Queso, 520 points, 8 chicken dinners, G25 with 9. I mean, all they got to do is just keep doing the same thing they've been doing. And I think well, they're going to have to probably mix it up here in this game, though, because it looks like it's a possible military circle. That's how we start off this day, huh? All right, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is looking, by my estimate, maybe, let's say 65-35, maybe 60-40 military main Erangel as far as where the circle is going to go, because sure, I think there's about equal amount of landmass in both, maybe a little more Erangel, but the fact that military base is closer towards center makes me think that it's going to get the likelihood of at least phase 2 shift on it. Now, if there's a hard shift up towards the north, then it's going to be almost guaranteed main Erangel. But it's this sort of like split phase 1 that we've seen be an issue for multiple teams time and time again. The fact that both of these bridges are in play will give some teams a little bit of flexibility. Previously, we've seen a split, a circle just like this that was heavy towards the west side, which meant that the west bridge was like the centerpiece of the entire phase 1, phase 2. This time around, there's a little more room, a little more freedom for teams to play around with.
Yeah, I think on top of that, you got a lot of major players that normally go to Sosnovka aren't in here. You know, like we see Defeaters, they normally like to go to Ferry Pier. They're not in this one. And B4, that's usually their island. So for them to be sitting out, that's going to kind of, I think, open the door for some of these squads rotationally here as we look at Tribe. They're their good old tried and true Rozhok. But look at this, Ace already on the bridge, heading towards military.
This is more of their initial rotation, and it's problematic that they don't have vehicles yet still. Luckily, they're not having to make this run down to military and then have to turn all the way around. I really like the double gold shotgun. That, I think, is the best setup. Oh, okay. All right. Making a bail off the bridge. This is going to make Ace's rotation even worse. AZ, good job to push all 4 of them over, and he sees an opportunity to get multiple road kills.
Oh, he's got an Uzi too. Oh, he doesn't need to do the road kills. What a big break for him. And you can just see ring around the Rosie. Oh, he actually's getting a few punches on him. Wow, got him to half HP. I got to give him credit for that. Just that was a heck of a play. To be able to just kind of punch your way out. Oh, if AZ would have got knocked there. I'm sorry, my man, but you would have been put in PUBG Mobile history for the biggest throw ever, but able to get the secure.
That's awful for Ace. It feels weird to say this less than 4 minutes into the game, but I think Ace's game is over.
It's possible.
Look, I mean, there are more teams already transitioning. This is a super early rotation, super early engagements. This is completely unprecedented. This many teams all making their way over towards military base immediately.
Here we go. Here we go. The action starting. We're at the final countdown. You can see the pressure in these squads' eyes as they're pressing this so quickly to get this rotation, to get that position. Tempo already down here. About 4 squads going down, like you mentioned, down that west bridge. Team 19 following Nova as well. Yeah, I'm really surprised Ace wasn't able to catch a vehicle. They just ran it down that bridge. Just got caught slipping.
That's always the biggest struggle. And I don't think they could have expected to get punished in the way that they have been this brutally, but that's a risk that you need to consider when you make a run like that. I don't know, am I crazy? Because I don't think anyone could have expected this many teams to make that last second adjustment to make their way over to military base for their initial looting.
To be honest with you, I think that this is the way the team should have been playing from early on, but look at this Quinto from G25 with that nice gatekeep, catching King A out slipping. The rest of Tribe gonna be able to sneak on by so far, but you can just see the Serpentine driving just in case. And Telly just kind of leading the way, down 1 member, trying to get into this military island. Oh, that could be crucial. He rain on top of the hill, but it looks like Tribe might just get away from this one.
I mean, they still lost a player. This is brutal for a lot of teams. Replay real quick of AZ almost losing to someone without a single weapon.
Oh man, that was such a clutch play. Look at that, throwing some lefts and some rights. Love to see it. We look on the bottom. That's going to be the last 2 members of Ace holding it down, getting one of the members from Tribe G3, and now Telly in a 1v1 situation. He's got the Uzi versus Bison, but nope, it's not a 1v1. It's a 2v1, and that's going to leave only 1 member left from Ace here to start the match. It's Myth with that pump shotgun. And he's
double gold shotties, let's go! Woo! Believing in the shotguns, no armor, no helmet, no backpack, no meds, because who needs it? You have the blessing of the holy blam sticks on your side.
Man, and you got that door right there. He's just not moving a muscle. He's like, nah, you guys come to me. I am not leaving this house. And I don't see him leaving it anytime soon, especially considering this circle. But yeah, not the best start for Ace. At the end of the day, though, they are in 6th place. They have definitely a lot of breathing room to make it into the top 16. But I mean, it's good to see like teams like Nova, who are, in 12th, kind of stepping it up here. Yeah, and there goes Ace 1.
Tempo found it? How did Tempo find Myth?
Caught him through the window
that they have. Either way, they were an aggressor on this. I don't know if it's because surely they know Tribe is here. There's no way that Tempo from those high ground positions aren't aware of where all those teams that were crossing that bridge rotated through. And this is an aggressive tempo. This is a tempo that we like to see. But let's see what their execution can look like. It's going to be a 4 versus 2, so it should be pretty standard.
And I love to see how Seagut, you see him there popping those pains early on. That's going to be so crucial, especially in close quarter combat. It's going to give him a little extra run speed, so his shimmies are a little bit more on point. And you can just see Tribe holding this down. And you're totally right. Tempo, they don't know that Tribe's here unless they heard that pin pull. Because you can see J7, they're starting to go on high alert right now. Oh, yep, they had to have heard something.
Yeah, it's all about finding out the information. Prepping their grenades right now. And just hoping that no one else groups up with them. But that is, of course, their teammate driving around trying to bait some shots out, as well as getting a flank position. Nade comes in, doesn't find the connection. But they're still pushing ever forward. And oh, there it is. Rain finds an angle. Rain gets the first knock. It's all up to Seagut.
Oh, and just a quick jump shot right there. Tribe Gaming eliminated, and that is their worst case scenario. I mean, they're sitting in 16th right now, so not the start that they wanted today, that's for sure.
Yes, but a really good pickup for Tempo Storm. Already 4 kills, picking up the scraps of a couple of different teams, and they get themselves a decent enough compound. It's sort of unfortunate that they had to leave the high ground, so they're not going to be able to find information as easily at the current timing, but to get those 4 kills to completely wipe multiple squads is very worth it. We're already down to 14. We're still in single-digit minutes, and we're down to 14 teams.
Insane. Insane to see how fast these squads are moving, and you can just kind of see that just step up in aggression right off the bat here to start today. Now, Meta Gaming, they're doing a really late rotate down on here. Now, they were in 17th from Tribe, so this is their opportunity to possibly get into the top 16. Next circle does go on up, and it's still going to be a little bit split. Definitely looks like it's favoring the military side, but you can see all these squads just grouping up, trying to find that real estate.
Now Tempo are very, very happy with their position. They can just play safe, be center. If it does shift north, which is probably maybe a 20% chance of that happening by my guesstimation, they have a pathway in, but the important thing right now is safety, because there's going to be a lot of teams fighting over those transitional spots. No one wants to be edge, because a hard shift will spell doom, essentially. Significantly more than any other circle would.
Yeah, you know, right now, like this is like those worst circles where if you're a team and you're hugging one edge of an island, you're just praying the circle goes to you. But look at that shot from Merlovsk right there on a Raven. So huge. And you can see Pew Pew trying to get some return fire onto them. But that's 2 knocks, and I think we might see a push here.
You gotta push it. This is the perfect opportunity to push. And you're in an area of the map that you know is going to be fairly uncontested, so the risk of third party is low. Durso's going a little bit of a limb here, trying to flank around, but he's not going wide enough that he's going to be overextending. The revives might come in time. That's 1 up already, but the meds are going to have to be used. They're still going to keep the pressure on. Smoke's already out.
See some nades coming out as well. Here comes a return one from Q. They do have those really nice rocks to hide behind, but one good nade does get him down to half HP. And you could just see Influence Rage pressing the Unnamed so hard right now. They want to take this squad out early. Oh, look at NTX. Great knock on Q. Big trades all over the place right now. That angle is so strong. Castiel able to get that finish. That's going to be a 3v4 right now. And especially with these knocks, these are 2 teams that are right next to each other in the leaderboards. So I could definitely see why Influence is so kind of hell-bent on taking out the Unnamed right now.
Yeah, the problem is, how are they going to be able to take out the 2 players that are inside the compound? But I say that, actually the Unnamed just put their own player out on a flank to try and counter NTX. NTX is backing away, perhaps in reaction to that. But throughout all of this, Raven might be able to find his way out. I thought that he was dead and gone at this point. But Rand's positioning is trying to give something back in the Unnamed's favor. Now the grenade's going to go out. Not quite far enough to knock Raven. He is still in a bit of trouble, but that's a knock onto Castiel.
Oh, and people
and another!
That is so huge right there. Now comes the Unnamed. He's going to press this really hard. And you know both these squads want each other out right here, right now. And
grenade.
The Unnamed, though, Raven's still holding on. That's going to let Influence Rage get some time to get these reses off, and it looks like they are going to be able to get him a good reset right here. And, oh, look at that shot from Merle catching Raven there. Wide on the open. Not sure what his plan was. just kind of sitting there for so long.
Yeah, the Unnamed are bitten by indecision at this point. I thought PUBG was going to go on the aggressive push there, especially with the support of Rand from the side angle, but they just let the revives go off for free and Influence Rage. All four still standing by. The second kill onto them forced the Unnamed to leave. I really think Unnamed could have pushed that situation a lot more aggressively, but if they're trying to position themselves for placement, that could be the call. We're going to see where the next circle goes. Unnamed, you can tell, already sending across the bridge because they somehow knew that it was guaranteed to go towards the military base. And so this does put them in a better position than if they, than they committed that fight against Influence. But they're still down to 2, and there's so many teams around this bridge that they're not out of it just yet.
We'll see if it pays off for them. And, you know, that's the crazy thing right now that we're at the end of this leaderboards. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of indecision from squads, you know, where they normally would push or normally would back off. Now they're just thinking so hard about the leaderboards. And, you know, this is PUBG Mobile, baby. You know, just 1 second of indecision could spell disaster for your squad. We'll have to see how it ends up turning off because this is a really rough zone for these squads. And you can see XSET taking their time. Team Queso going away from the gatekeep, and still XSET's playing it real safe, trying to press in this next circle.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams going to be coming in from this eastern bridge. They assume that the west bridge is the one that's the most active, which there might be some truth to that. But when this many teams are all going to the east bridge at the same time and the blue's going to start closing in, and, well, now, it's not going to make an easier passage this time around. This is a circle that you need to start fighting. This is the circle that you cannot guarantee a top placement position. You just want to find a couple of kills while you make your transition across. So I'm surprised that we're still seeing this many teams in their vehicles. That is such a risky maneuver, I think, to be inside your vehicles, crossing a bridge, going into a potential gatekeep, a potential crossfire.
Hey, it's Military Island, baby. Anytime you get a zone right here, you never know what's going to happen. And you can just see so many of these squads deciding to come in at different times. Everyone seeming to get across this bridge relatively free. That's something you don't see very often. But now the last 2 teams, it looks like, that are going to try to make this cross is BDM and Wildcard. And you kind of see them just kind of following each other right now, deciding on when to make this transition. Because we're already on zone 3. You can already see the kill feed popping off as well.
And actually, Wildcard, they're one of these teams. Both these squads tried to go to the Eastern Bridge, saw both Meta and XSET cross in front of them, said, we don't want that heat, we're going to go to the West one, but the Blue's already taken them out. Sam got taken out by Wildcard from the Blue, from the play zone, not even engagement, but an engagement on the southern side is what Queso and INTZ are involved with. These 2 teams have been poking back and forth their entire rotation in, and they're in the next circle. But these are both very, very weak positions, so they're going to want to try and deal damage to each other. Ayala with the spray, can't quite land the shots.
Man, with that buggy, all you got to do is knock a tire out. If you're able to get 2 shots on that tire, he's going to spit out for sure. But it looks like Team Queso not able to hit the mark right there. They're already down Nitsume, trying to get the revive on Marco as well. And INTZ, they're sitting in 21st, while Team Queso's in first. So if you're Gamma and Mitz, you got to play this one really careful right now as this next circle is just about to pop.
And Meta actually all the way out in the blue still. The damage is going to increase for them. I hope they can make their way in time, but it's another long transition for them, as well as I mentioned, Queso and INTZ on the south. G25 on a hill right in front of them. This could be another disastrous G25 game, and by that I mean disastrous to everyone else, because we know how successful they can be from these edge positions if they're constantly fighting, constantly gatekeeping. But Queso and INTZ, they're focused on each other at the moment.
Yeah, and you can just see right now Team Queso deciding, all right, are we going to go this gatekeep or we're going to go ahead to circle? And it looks like they opt to get in their vehicles and head on in, but man, they're going to have a lot of trouble heading their way. A lot of squads waiting for them. And you can see right here, still on the north side by Ferry, Wildcard and Influence. The NTX with that 6X M4 laying down, and they're going to get punished by this blue. I think they have to go for this fight, just go for points at this point.
They have to, but Wildcard's still trying to rotate out. At least Enigma is taken very, very low. I think if Wildcard sent him across the bridge and leave their last 2 remaining players here to try and fight Influence, that could be a useful use of their resources. But no, they're getting ready to get in their own vehicles. Leon popping inside, and they're going. Both teams are actually sending it. I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah, Influence is deciding to go ahead and take the water right here, right now, and this is going to be a long swim, especially with Zone 4. You can't heal. You can't get a energy drink off in the water. You know, you got to spend at least 30 minutes before you go into the water, guys. And you can see here, Tempo, Team Queso, they just sent it straight into Tempo, and they're getting punished for it. So far, Tempo with 6 kills in a really good position in the zone.
Yep, and there the push by Wildcard across the bridge. BDM had already taken it behind Cloud9.
Wow.
And that is multiple kills. It is just Enigma remaining. The first player to leave Ferry Pier is going to be swimming under the bridge, but so Enigma, unlike Influence Rage, is actually in the circle, but he is still in the water, and it's still incredibly vulnerable.
I mean, this is just chaos right now. Every single time we see a military zone shift, we see so many of these squads just rotationally, it's so difficult for them. You can see Pyra laying down in the truck, holding down BDM on the bridge. And it does look like they have a bike, so if they're able to get a little bit down, they can kind of drive underneath one of those guardrails. We see a lot of teams do that right there. We'll see if they'll be able to get it off right now, though. They are stuck on this bridge. But I don't think they're going to move, especially since they're in circle.
Yeah, and also because they're still not forward enough to, if they drop down, land on the actual land. They'd be just falling into the water. And you already saw Beowulf's position there for Cloud9. I think Adder as well, just really holding down that beachfront. Not worried about the south because they know that there are other teams dealing with it. Not just G25, who just picked up INTZ, but Tempo. We didn't sort of pick up on where they've been. They left that compound that they stole earlier on from Tribe, went to the high ground because they want to be able to control the pacing of this engagement of the entire lobby. This is the Tempo that really want these kills.
Yeah, and right now they're sitting in 5th place. They have the opportunity to pass up Alpha 7 and B4 and possibly get top 3 if they could really, really crush these next couple days of games. We'll see where this next circle is opting to go on to. XSET is still alive here, really split. What do you think about this one, Cameron?
I mean, they have the space to be able to use it. Everyone else has been so focused on the south. It was a hard shift towards the east, so they were given more space, less people vying over those positions. But I do worry if it is going to get punished at some point. Luckily, the shift actually goes away from them, which means that they can utilize this positioning for information, try and get some flanks on potential opening engagements without the pressure of teams all rushing onto them because that's where the zone is.
True. The only problem is they got to get up that hill, and you can just see Tempo. They got the hill. They're sitting pretty up there. Look at, speaking of sitting pretty.
It was never going to be easy.
Yeah, Yala getting taken out just like that. G25, like you mentioned earlier, just when they hold the edge, they're such a strong team. Just being able to push in little by little. Speaking of push in, look at Influence on the bottom there, still swimming. Able to make it into this next zone, surprisingly.
We'll see. Yeah, they made it into Zone 4. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it to Zone 5 because Cloud9, they are trying to keep the tax on that bridge spiked up to the maximum.
Oh, speaking of tax, look at Luquitas. Does Quito see him? Quito does! Luquitas waiting just a little too long to take the shot there. Oh, run over! Pepito! Oh my goodness. Getting the knock here though, Abdul.
Okay, a second.
One of his teammates got ran over. He's not putting up with it. Never mind, he is getting knocked.
Okay. So G25 playing this a little too loose, a little too close for comfort in this engagement. They had a position to really wipe out meta. Perhaps being a little bit too active. That being said, it was never going to be a clear-cut push from them either way because Tempo Storm have a clear line of sight, and that's even before Rolex tries to get revenge for the rest of his squad. G25 now suddenly down to 2 players remaining. And that's looking like it's about to be one because Unico, he's not downed yet, but he is still very, very low. Wants to get those first aid kits off. And Tempo Storm, as you mentioned, they're just controlling that hilltop.
They are not going to let him get down this hill for free. He's going to have to throw some smokes. And you can already see his teammate, Italox, trying to throw those for him to try and give him a little bit of breathing room to get down here. We'll see, though, because here comes the blue zone. He's going to have to start running here now. They do get the spot, and yeah, J7 just really quick on that knock. I think G25 at this point, they're sitting so pretty on the leaderboards. They're like, hey, let's just make some highlight reel plays while we're here. But Italox is going to have to make some big ones if he wants to survive.
Tempo! That grenade!
Woohoo! What a nade!
Yeah.
And that's it for G25.
They actually went out before meta, which is shocking. But, I mean, as you mentioned, highlight plays. That's not just the way that G25 play. That's the way that you would sort of want to play a military circle in general, especially these sort of split phase 1s, phase 2, with the bridge being a huge important factor. But The teams that have all been able to make their way across are still vying for position. XSET, they're now coming into play. 0 kills to them so far, but they have, I believe, all 4 still standing. So let's see if their saving of resources will help them out. They are currently tearing apart Nova, who were here since the very beginning.
Oh, and you
quickly
can see
losing favor. I say that, boss. A nice spray down onto Angry.
long range Uzi shots there from Angry. Just gets tapped up really quick though. This next zone, 24 seconds left. XSET's gonna have to make this push. Look at that great nade from Joey, and he's gonna start throwing some return ones, turning it into a little mini red zone, putting the pressure all by himself onto Cloud9. You know, the rest of the squad's gotta come help him eventually. One good nade though is all it takes to take out Cloud9.
They're a little torn between Nova and Cloud9. They don't want to push too far ahead. Well, I was about to say, because BDM could have had an angle, but they were just now taken out, and so here the push is being prepared to come. Juicy's given the information over, and the rest of XSET trying to get close enough for grenades. We saw through a few lobbed out, but I don't think they're going to make it. I say that. Beowulf, he gets knocked by a vehicle explosion, and now the blue could easily take care of the rest of Cloud9.
And you can just see them just pre-firing those vehicles, not giving him an option. And there goes XSET with a great gatekeep, taking out Cloud9. And these are huge points for XSET. And Nova as well, just going off. And look at this, Joey with the Tommy gun, putting in some solid work here. XSET not going down without a fight.
Tempo has also taken a lot of damage in this pass zone. They had to push up, and they got torn apart by a number of different teams. We just saw AZ there take down one, their penultimate member, but JZ, J7 rather, not JZ, not the rapper. J7 taking out the rest of Nova, trying to keep Tempo Storm's hopes alive. Already 14 kills for Tempo, though. So even if they were to go out, I think they would be very, very happy. That is unprecedented. That hilltop position gave them so much power to just deal massive blows team after team after team. So even if they were to go out now, that's a good game.
Well, there you go, J7. He's saying, get that dirt off your shoulder with 9 kills, but that's going to be the end with that knock right there. But like you mentioned, 14 in total for Tempo. So this is a great game for them regardless. But here's up to XSET. This is a huge game for them, and Klaze as well. If they want to make it, we talked about it earlier at the top of the show, they need to have pop-off game, like almost 100 points to try to make it into the top 16. And this might be a chance, though. Look at Nico with that 6x. A lot of return fire, just trading back and forth. Seba's got that bolt. Got to hit a shot here for his squad.
Whoever wins this, they're not going to have that many kill points considering, because you've already mentioned how a bunch of other teams, G25, Tempo, have mopped up so many of them. But these are teams that want every single point that they can get. And the Unnamed, that early send that I was a little questionable about, it seems to have worked out for them so far. They haven't been engaged upon as aggressively as they could have been as a duo. But Klaze and XSET are currently dealing with each other. Nope, Juicy is aware that someone could be in that compound. XSET want to spread out, and they get the shift in their direction. It's their turn to hold the line, not let anyone cross in front of them. Set up those crossfires and pop some heads.
Love to see how when Juicy pushed up there, they pre-fired that rock. Great, great teamwork. Love to see that from XSET. And like you mentioned, they do have the circle here. So this is a great opportunity for them. 5 kills already. Still a lot of kills points still available. And that with the chicken dinner, you know, they're gonna be feeling really good. We'll see if they're able to secure it. Right now, these are all 3 squads that direly need points if they want to make it to the finals.
The Unnamed are the ones that really don't have a lot of control now that Pew Pew's been taken out. Tried to sneak around the rocks, but looks like Seba was the one to catch him. Not even XSET, but the blue is pushing in. What can Seba do right now? Waiting for the final member of the Unnamed potentially to secure those few points, because Klaze, I feel like they're just unconfident that you'll be able to take the fight against XSET, and you can't really blame them for that. XSET's current positioning is incredibly powerful, and it's going to take some amazing play from Klaze to break through it.
I just think they're just trying to soak up as many points as they possibly can. You know, if they can get second place, that's just an extra a couple points that they could add to their score. They need every single one of those to try and make it here. Play zone's going to take out Seba right there. And Nico's going to be able... Oh, I don't think he was able to get the finish. The play zone stole it from him. So blue always OP here at the end. And you can just see Angry Oh, he saw a little pixel move, couple little warning shots down that range.
bit.
Yeah, XSET, they got all the territory right now.
We'll see what happens if the circle does shift towards the west, because the small ridge at the edge of the blue, you can tell, has allowed Klaze and even Ran from the Unnamed to sneak into the zone just barely. But oh, it's actually going to be a knock against Nico, but immediately traded out. Orlando's trying to go big as well. That's 2 down for XSET. This could be huge. Orlando just really wants to finish this kill out.
Oh, but Angry with the support, able to get the finish. And it looks like the Unnamed able to secure a good solid. You know he wants this point.
Kill.
He wants to be able to get at least get
Give me that
one.
point.
Yep, come get it. If can he be able to do it though? He sees the other, but Joey able to save it, denies the point away from the Unnamed. Gotta give it to the Unnamed though for at least securing second place, especially considering that horrible engagement we saw with them at Barry Pier against Influence.
0 kills, yes, second place, but we'll see if that is enough. It is a good collection of points, but is that repeatable? It looked to them that they were a bit fortunate to end up in the position that they were, and that's not to distract from the skill it requires in order to try and sneak it out. It was a good salvage attempt by them, but if you're constantly put in that position, you can't expect it to come out in this way time and time again.
I totally agree. I'll say one thing though. If this is their first game, and if that's going to be their worst one, that's the time you want to have it, right? To be able to get second place by staking it in there and getting those, initial first game nerves out the way. We'll see how they perform for the rest of the day. But still, I mean, all the top 3 were all squads that direly needed points. I mean, man, this leaderboard here is going to start looking real scary to see who's going to make it the top 16. I'm pumped up for today. Let's go.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to XSET, because not only did they win the game, they won in a very interesting fashion. But Jason, what are your thoughts on that factor? XSET came in very late to the circle, were able to win off of it, but low kill count. Is this something that we're going to see them do further on?
I mean, I think for me, it isn't even about like what's going to happen out later in the matches for them, because they technically were only like, what, 12 points behind the predicted bubble. So as long as they don't score 0 points every match from now on and other teams don't have crazy games, they're going to be safe. Like, they're through into the finals. So I think this is going to be, if anything, if they knew about this, a big sigh of relief for them, that they can then be a little more relaxed. Or maybe, as we were talking about before, Hot Jukes, maybe they're going to focus up here and continue to work on things because they know they're having some communication issues. I know we've seen Joey have some problems within the team of like trying to hold some certain angles, but I'm curious to see if they're going to continue to try to soak up all these points, because that makes it even tougher for all the other teams to rise through into the top. But you know what? I like your guys' shirts. I like the red on you too. You two, go take a quick break. Let me bring the analysts in who are also wearing red. It's an all-red day here as we break down that last match. But the Unnamed, again, having a pretty decent game with a second-place finish. We talked about at the start of the show, 7. I know their results weren't like a massive increase from the other averages, but that was still a good showing from what we saw yesterday. They're continuing an upward pace.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. With the Unnamed, 0 kills. That's why that last player was trying to push so hard for that extra kill to get that extra point. But it's placement points, 12 placement points. This is going to be huge for them. And I mean, what can we say about Exodus? We're able to see there, they at one point, I think 2 circles before the final one, they had 0 kills as they moved into the final circle. I'm loving the way they're playing. They're focusing more on rotations. They're focusing a lot less on kills towards the start and the middle of the game, and just putting themselves in a position where they can actually frag out towards the end, which reminds me a lot of how Cloud9 used to play in previous tournaments. You see there XSET with 24 points, Tempo Storm with 20 points, 14 kills, and if I'm not mistaken, I think J7 had like 7 kills, 9 kills, something along those, which is insane considering that J7 is one of the new additions to that team. You see Klaze Esports, another team that we were saying they needed the points. They get 13 points. Meta Gaming as well. With this performance here, they might actually be able to pass. Actually, they're definitely going to be able to pass.
Yeah, they threw a gauntlet against Tribe here. They're like, you know what? We just made the first move. You guys now have to bounce back from that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm loving so much about everything going on right now, because everything is just so close. You see Cloud9 there being able to get some points, which they definitely need. BDM Esports as well, getting some points. And then Tribe Gaming, the team that was in 16th place there, Glitter, only being able to get 1 point.
Yeah, and that's gonna hurt, right? Especially like we were just saying, as we saw what Meta was able to do. BDM also needed way more than 3 points if they want to come back from the position that they were in, because they were one of those teams that were potentially on the cusp in a either 18th or 19th, I believe, at the top of the show. So some teams definitely stepped up and are putting themselves in a better points position than they were already at the top of the day. Others are going to have to start fighting for their places back, and this is what we had anticipated happening.
Yeah, I mean, Klaze, honestly, to talk about them really quickly, yeah, they put up some good points, 13 for them, and they needed like 100-odd points going into these last final days, so they can maintain that kind of pace. Maybe they could pull it off depending on how many games they had left, 9 or 10. I don't remember off the top of my head, but let's take a look, though, at XSET and their stats yet again. This team has definitely been improving, I'd say, over these last 2 weeks. I mean, we saw them start to like rise up in the ranks between week 3 and week 4. They went up 4 placings into 9th place, knocking out Brazilian Rampage. I'm just wondering, are they ever going to stop, or is this momentum going to keep carrying over with them into the finals?
I think at this point, you can't stop. I don't want a team, even if they do end up seeing the stats tonight, even if they do end up being on that safe zone, passing the mark, which at this point they already have. They only needed, I think it was 12 points. I don't want it to stop. I want it to continue this improvement, because this is a team that, remember, they were doing this in regards to days. They were having a good day, they were having a bad day. So far, everything's working their way. The way that they have changed their tactics has really impressed me. They noticed that maybe they weren't able to frag out as much at the start. Maybe they noticed that maybe Joy wasn't as comfortable in certain situations, and Juicy and Nico being Juicy being the IGL and Nico being the co-IGL, the way they've been able to adjust, it speaks volumes of that team, and I'm super happy to see the improvements that we've seen out of them.
I'm also going to be happy to see our Mountain Dew Game Fuel moments of that last match, because I think we're going to see a couple of really cool kills. Again, really nice to see Tempo for me, Glitter, have a good day, because I felt like in week 3 they kind of fell off a little bit, and I know yesterday they actually were performing well, but again, they're carrying the momentum over.
Yeah, they definitely are, and they were doing it aggressively, which we love to see out of Tempo Storm. And these are actually okay. So these are actually 2 squads that I did want to touch on a little bit, because I don't think we gave them any love when we were looking at the match standings. But Nova, we saw being, I feel like, a little bit more aggressive than what we typically see out of Nova, and I feel like that was good for them, because they're one of those teams that was kind of right around where Cloud9 was in the standings, and they definitely want to keep that positioning. So the fact that they were willing to come out of the gate pretty strong, we did see them get in that fight early on and take out 2 of Ace's players, which put Ace really on the back foot for this first match. And then G25 woke up a little bit. They had 7 kills in this game. We saw them fighting 19 Esports earlier, and that went well for them. But I mean, that was nice to see, considering how much they had fallen off before 7.
Yeah, and this is something that we've been mentioning, right? Teams that were able to perform so well at the start of the tournament, midway through the tournament, they kind of fell off, or they weren't able to keep that consistent great performances that we've seen out of them. What we're looking here on this final days of pretty much replay is for them how they're going to be able to react, and then you see it there, BDM being able to take full advantage of that botch rush by Wildcard, which they honestly had no option there. They had Influence Rage fighting them outside of the circle, and on top of that, once you're trying to cross that circle, I believe it wasn't only BDM, you also had the likes of Cloud9. And right here with Team Queso, interesting stuff. We actually saw a fight between Team Queso and G25, which was really interesting, because I want to know how those teams are going to be able to react to each other in the future. Keep in mind that I believe both of these teams are also from Argentina, so there might be a little bit of a pride thing right now with Team Queso being able to edge out G25. Are we going to see maybe more of a rivalry there between those teams, Glitter?
I mean, that would be insane. If that's what happens in Final 7, I am going to get my popcorn out, and I am ready for those games, because both teams have shown us how dominant they can be. It's just whether or not they can manage to do so in the finals, as obviously those top 2 teams are definitely going to be qualifying through at the end of this week. But we are watching the final moments here, and Cloud9, we probably could touch on them for a little bit. I mean, I feel like they were able to get 3 kills, right? But they were definitely, I don't know. It could just be, I felt like they were a little bit slower in this game. I don't know, right off the I don't know. Something felt a little off for me.
Fair enough. So with Cloud9, I kind of, the reason why it was so interesting for me to see the rotations there from XSET on that last game is because they reminded me a lot of Cloud9. That's usually how Cloud9 plays it. Get into the safe zone, do it in a way that you're not losing any of the players, do it in a way that you're not really getting into any fights, at least at the start, and then towards the middle, and then at the end, that's when you can start getting yourself in a position where you can take those fights. And Cloud9, I think they were able to do that, but they weren't able to put themselves in a position where they could actually take advantage. XSET, however, they were able to challenge Nova Esports in a position that they were going to have the high ground if they win that engagement. So overall, the execution from XSET was just so much better there on that game. And something that I enjoy seeing as well, something that we've been kind of, in a way, flaming Joey about, of not being confident. I saw Joey being confident that last game. I saw Joey throwing grenades towards Cloud9. I saw Joey getting angles as well.
Yeah.
And this is what you want to see out of a player. Listen, man, I understand this is your first tournament, but at this point, your team needs you to step it up. And what you're doing right now, hey, is allowing your team to be able to do this, because if we wasn't able to take Cloud9, we would have not been saying, hey, XSET won that game.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what's nice to see as well. It's just a shame maybe it took too long, but the thing is, it's happening now. It's happening right before the finals. That's all going to matter, because they may have a big chance to make it into a top 3 when we get into it. But for now, we're going to take a look at our total damage in that last match. I'm assuming, and I'm pretty safe in saying this, I think, that Tempo should easily be #1 here on the leaderboards of our damage in the last match. And I got a little bit close there. 1853 up to the 1807 against XSET.
That's impressive. Good. I mean, good job. Tempo was obviously able to pull down more kills for almost the exact same amount of damage, but still strong performances from both teams. And you know, I touched on them a little bit, but G25 not that far behind with just over 1,400 damage themselves, and that's something that we were hoping to see out of this team, because we were questioning if they were going to be able to repeat their performance moving into finals, and this is at least better than what we'd seen yesterday.
Yeah, and with G25, remember, like, before they started getting the crazier wins, they were always at least consistent with kills. If they can continue, if they can kind of bring that back, the consistency with kills, and then start worrying about the wins, maybe they can try to push for something along the lines of what happened in week 1. And why not start doing that as the league play is almost over and we're going into league finals?
I mean, it's pretty much up to that, right? Can they replicate that performance from that first week? 224 points, so far ahead of every other team out there. And speaking of being ahead of every other thing out there, it's going to be the Esports Awards right now, where PUBG Mobile should be ahead of every other game when it comes to the Esports Mobile Game of the Year Award. You guys can make sure to vote into this one. You got to head over to esportsawards.com/community vote. And I don't need to say it again. Seven's wallet is already probably hurting from this, but if you guys vote, follow him on Instagram and shoot me a message of you proving that you voted. He's going to eventually give away 10 gajillion, bazillion, quadrillion UC. We actually added on a couple more zeros into this one. So, Seven, I hope you're making those bucks, because you're going to need them. And in the meantime, we're going to head to a short break. When we come back, we'll be coming back with match 2.
Mountain Dew? Squads. There's loot on the horizon for however you find victory. For their combat chauffeurs. For those who strike from above or from below. For the experts in pan-to-pan combat. Whether you're taking a leap of faith or just aren't afraid of a close call. Fuel your path to winner chicken dinner with ice-cold Mountain Dew. And with exclusive loot from Mountain Dew fuel stations. Spawning on a map near you.
And now we're back here as we have our second match coming up in just a few seconds time. Remember, it's only 4 matches today, which means we're playing out different matches this entire week, actually. And we have Miramar coming up second with Group A sitting out. So guys, we've already had pretty much XSET confirm their place into the finals. Now, other teams are still fighting for the chance to confirm their place. We got teams like Brazilian Rampage, Execute, Pittsburgh Knights, a little bit off the cusp at the moment from being in the top 16. I think we've now seen one team step up. I think that puts even more pressure on other teams to match their own pace here, Jukes.
Oh, yes, it does. I mean, here's the thing. I talked to Juicy last night in my own stream.
You know when we talked to me?
I asked him, hey, what after
the show?
Well, here's the thing, right? Well, because you don't come to my stream. You don't come to my stream, Jason, right? But Juicy came to my stream and we talked, and I said, hey, what do you feel about yesterday's matches? And he gave me the whole spiel that, oh, you know, we're trying to do this, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, look, this isn't the PMPL stream, it's the Hot Juke stream. What do you have to really say? And he said, and I quote, he said that he has the biggest grapes in North America and that the rest of these NA teams need to get out the bottom 16 or he's going to knock them out, right? And to start off the day, chicken dinner from XSET. So Juicy staying true to his word. Staying true to his word. What can I say?
Cameron, am I the only confused here what he meant by biggest grapes?
I'm not confused at all. I am confused why he said that he quoted him, because I'm sure there was some editorial.
Like my Twitter, you'll see the asterisk. You know what it actually said.
I mean, I could go to your channel and go look at like the chat, but I just don't want to give you that extra viewers. So you have to pay me for that. But you know, if Cameron streams, I'll go ahead and watch his stream. I'll even give him a sub. But no, let's start talking about some of these teams. Klaze, again, big game for them getting 13 points, but still, Cameron, they're like 100 points out of the bubble at the moment from being safe. That's a good little bit to chop away at that, but they have to maintain that performance over the rest of this event.
And that's a difficult thing. It's good that they were able to have a good start on one of the more chaotic zones that we could see ever play out on Erangel. But can they keep it up is the big question.
Well, you know what? We're going to find out later because I believe they're off this game. But we're going to head into our second match right now. It's going to be hot. It's going to be Miramar. And it's going to be with Hot Jukes and Hot Cameron.
Thank you so much, Hot Jason, as we get into Hot Miramar. Let's go. Match number 2. The first one was, I think, everything that I hoped to dream. You know, a good military circle to start things off. And now we're headed into the desert, Cameron. Miramar, one of my favorite maps. I know it's one of yours as well.
Yes,
so let's get into it.
Yes, it is. This map has the most entertaining gunfights, bar none. The terrain is amazing to play around with. The compounds are available, but they are not too dense where it's just basically house versus house warfare. The options are plentiful for how teams want to set up, how they want to hold positions, how they want to execute. I mean, in Tempo Storm, we just saw what they did last game with how strong they held the hilltop. This is the perfect map for them to do it again.
Can they do it? Can they do it? That is the question. And the good thing is, you know, Pecado, that's their place where they love to be, Sin City. That's right in the center of this map, so they're going to be pretty set rotationally. And man, I love the fact that when it comes to Miramar, so all this open terrain, you see those 4 vehicles moving, and the fact that these players are just so on point with their gun skill. It's like almost they hunt down vehicles. If they see one move, they're spraying it down. So I'm gonna be really interested to see how this one starts off, because what do you think about the first one? I thought that one was pretty, more aggressive than what we've seen here in the past.
Yeah, even with the chaotic nature, teams really set to open military quite early. And I think, as you mentioned, that actually should be the way that more and more teams play it. But with this game specifically, I think despite it being Miramar, the only downside for Miramar is that it generally has a slower early game. I think the plane pad combined with this circle could lead into a more aggressive early game for this map. Klaze right now already trying to deal some long-range shots. Not too many strong optics to give them big advantage in this, but Brazilian Rampage, they were mentioned, they're one of the teams that really need to try and get good points under them to get into the top 16, and if Klaze keep them pinned down like they might be attempting to, could be a rough start. Luckily for them, both these teams are already in this circle, and I think Klaze, they're using this opportunity to go towards Monte Nuevo that is basically close enough to dead center and backing away. Those shots at Brazilian Rampage keep them backed off, but now they're going to find an opening to get a better rotational position.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that ends up working out. We're seeing right now Cloud9 looting up here as well. They normally like to go to El Pozo, but it looks like they are doing a little bit of a different strategy here rather than taking the drive up north. So we'll be really inclined to see how they do. A lot of teams now are in here that need to have some big games. And one that I'm really looking at is Tribe Gaming. You know, after that last match, going out so early, they're now knocked out of the top 16. Meta is now ahead of them in 16th place by 10 points. So now they got even more catching up to do.
Yeah, they need to have a complete 180 placement-wise of the previous game, even if they don't get that many kills this time around. As you mentioned, the 10-point gap is one they need to overcome, and the best way to do so is to get up into the top 3 and hopefully have a couple of kills on top as well. But we'll see how that works out for them, because time is, we're running out of it. We are running out of that time. That the thing called time, the concept that is may or may not be an actual reality is running low.
True. And yeah, I mean, time is of the essence. It really is. It's the most valuable commodity. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. And I think with Tribe, there's just such an interesting team that I look at because this is a newer Tribe squad. The roster is stacked with some of the top North American players. I just think that from what I look at their gameplay, it just looks like a little bit of just almost indecision or rustiness, or they're just not all on the same page. Because when we see them like work as a unit and it looks like they all have the same idea, man, they can be one heck of a team. But if you see them kind of like splitting up and that kind of indecision across the board, they get taken out early. So I think that like we've been talking about, only 3 days left. There's no more time really to start figuring things out. They have to do it right now.
Yeah, and it's not even just the indecision that affects them, or rather, what makes the indecision worse is that with the new point system, with the new meta change, you have even less time, because previously on the older point system, you would have a couple of moments, you did have a little bit of flexibility on how you wanted to approach different situations, but here it's all about velocity, it's all about speed, it's all about going fast as a group before and taking those aggressive fights up close and personal. And so if you don't have that game plan set in place, if you need to even waste time communicating, and it's so weird to say that, but if you need to waste time communicating, then that's gonna affect you negatively.
I mean, that's the difference. That's the difference. We're in the PUBG Mobile Pro League in the Americas, right? The rest of these squads, they don't have to communicate. They're at that level already. So it's kind of crazy to even, make that kind of comparison, but that's the level that we're playing at here. We're playing with the best of the best. You got to be, firing on all cylinders. And I know this Tribe team really, really well. Seagut, I played with him in Wildcard back in Dubai. G3 Gabby, I played with him competitive in the past, really good player. And, that recent change they had with Telly being the new IGL, anytime you kind of switch that out, especially towards the last days, I think it can even get tougher. Because this is the really game that I'm looking at, because after that last rough match, those are the toughest ones to bounce back from.
Yep.
Especially if you're having, IGL discrepancies. So we'll see how it plays out for them. But looks like Loops, they got the Golden Murado. Usually that's Team Queso's game right there.
So we're seeing a lot of teams here start to center up. It's around the timing that you expect that to happen. Not that many transitional engagements. I expected maybe 1 or 2. We'll still see what happens with the teams that are outside the zone, but the teams that were center enough, they're not trying to get center of phase 1. And it's starting to get crowded around this area. You saw Loops drive past the Knights. The Knights didn't engage them, wanted to keep their position without baiting in a fight. But Brazilian Rampage, high ground, overlooking Tempo, who have moved away from Mercado going towards the west. But this high ground angle that Brazilian Rampage has could deal some good damage to Tempo. The ability to finish these kills is a little low, which is why you're not going to see them take those shots just yet. But the bigger effect is what this is going to happen on Tempo's transition. Oh, that's a free shot. That is a free one.
Gotta take it. Can he get the knock? He doesn't. So Nunez had the opportunity. I'm surprised he didn't kind of wait for the rest of his team, though. Oh, that one was really nice, though. Great shots onto Tensa. But yeah, like you were talking about, it's really hard to get the finish there. So yeah, you got the knock. You were able to get some of that armor down, but there's no way you're going to be able to drive down that hill, mountain range, to get the finishes.
I mean, J7 made it close. I think if the knock happened, that looked free enough as they come. Long-range shots with the 3X especially aren't the easiest to land every single bullet, but if Nunez is able to do that, he could have knocked and finished before he crawled back inside. But fortunately for Tempo Storm, they're given just enough of a branch to hang on to and keep all 4 up. And now that they know that there's Overwatch overlooking them, there's a Guardian. What'd you say, Guardian Devil, rather? Is that a phrase? Yeah,
right. True. The Angel of Death. That's what that could have been right there. But you know what? Here's the difference. It's J7. That man, I've seen that man Barchata in real life. He's got the moves. He's got the shimmies. And he was able to get with his, pal Tensa right the room really, really quickly. And it's so great to see Tempo still so strong, even with a substitute player. And I think that J7 is without a doubt the best sub that any team could possibly have right now in this lobby.
It really has bounced from team to team recently. It kind of feels that way.
I mean, he's a starter. He's a starter without a doubt.
Oh yeah, no. But he performs every single time. Here though, we saw Loops get a knock and a kill onto a Knights member. The Knights left power grid.
Oh.
I couldn't tell you why, but they're running into a lot of trouble. Take the shots, Execute trying to retreat. Zute just barely makes out of harm's way, but now the Knights are potentially surrounded because you see some of the angles that the rest of Execute have. They don't want to commit to the fight just yet though, because phase 2 is about to happen. If it shifts away from them, they want to be able to retreat easily. You can already see Fame Boys backing away, but no, the shift actually goes right on top of them. So Execute, do they take the hill? Do they try and take this fight? That could be a risky one to do though, because a number of teams, it is only phase 2, could start to push in this area and make it a little difficult. But Tribe, beginning of a good round. No, maybe not. Maybe not.
That off angle from Fish, he's so strong, but Tribe has the hill as well. So now it's King A and G3. You see them looking out at Richie. Can they make the play? They're trying to get those nades onto Seagut to at least confirm that kill. Telly's gonna try to pick him up right now and save him. Fishy's got his eyes locked right on him though. That nade! That nade bounce fired away, saved Telly potentially right there, and possibly opened up the door for Seagut to get a res. Can he get in the building? He does.
Yeah, Defeaters, yeah, they're backing off. They know they can't just run with their backs exposed, so they're making sure they keep watch behind them, but they're just backing away the whole time. Smoke's already deployed as well to make this as safe as possible, which still won't be too safe because they had to leave their vehicles behind. Luckily, they are in phase 2. This gives them a little bit of time to work with, but to lose your vehicle so early, this is not a great start for Defeaters.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with Defeaters. I mean, yeah, they're 100 points away from making to the top 16. To see them with only a 3-man squad, at this point, it's inexcusable, at least in my eyes. I'm not sure exactly, of course, if they do have some kind of, emergency going on, then that's totally acceptable at the same time, though, man. I mean, it's tough to see this squad this far down in points with this time left, only running a 3-man.
I liked that setup that we saw for Execute. In fact, they're going to go into a symbiotic relationship with the Knights. They're not going to engage on them. Rather, they're going to use them as defending their south end. Their spread has so much attention placed over towards the north side, where we're seeing a number of teams trying to rotate through. Cloud9 and HQA being examples of that, coming in super late from the northeast side. We actually saw a little bit of a trades for them on their transition only a couple of minutes ago. But Tempo Storm also finding their way up into the circle. There hasn't been huge movement because the strong positions in this circle were already taken by a team in phase 1. So most other teams have just tried to slowly move in and hopefully set themselves up for engagements to begin come phase 3.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see this points disparity that we have kind of going on right now, because technically, 20th place and up, which was just Klaze, and they had a pretty good solid game to start it off, have a chance at making it into top 16. So I think it's kind of tough to see what is their options as far as playstyle go. Pittsburgh Knights, they're in 18th, and I think that they're just trying to play super careful, not going out early, I think is the strategy. It's just so interesting to see how these teams take this leaderboard differently, how they're going to apply their game style.
The Knights have been doing that from the very beginning. That's not a huge takeover. That's not a huge change from how they've been approaching most of these games anyway. They're the team that really seem to lack a huge amount of aggressiveness, I would say. Luckily, they're in a good position here, so hopefully they can get a good number of placement points in this game. But where's phase 3 going to go?
We'll see. Okay. Ooh. Nice little shift on back over to Pecado and San Martin. And you can see here, all the rest of these squads are going to start making that rotation on back. Tempo, they're like, dang, we were just in Pecado. All right, got to make the rotation back in. G25 are going to hold this edge. Man, it always seems like we find them at the edge of one of these final circles. And we'll see how they're going to apply the gatekeep as the rest of these teams. Yeah, they're getting the vehicles. They're going to have to try to drive in the zone right here, right now. Oh, look at those taps from Nunez. Nice.
A little bit of damage, but no knock just yet. But yeah, Tribe, their own rotation is again already cut off by that. And they're having to make a wrapping rotation coming in south from Picado, even if they can get all their players in that direction. It is one big giant rush for this mountain overlooking Picado. There's already INTZ there, already G25 in position as well.
Woo! Man, that Murata was flying there from Tempo. I mean, hitting the full gas, trying to get back to their old city, and it looks like, I mean, with that full send, it looks like they're gonna be able to make it on in there safely so far. That truck's not gonna go as fast as a Murata though. Still, though, what a great rotation from Tempo to be able to make it back to Picado safely. Trying to make some rotations as well. I mean, this next zone, that's Miramar for you. You know, these zone shifts can definitely make it tough. And you can see a lot of action in the kill feed as well. Cardazan getting a nice solid finish. Love to see that. San Martin, nice little battle up here.
Both these teams want to try and climb up at least a little bit. Ace might be okay holding down the fort just for a few moments more, but over on the northwest side, here's a bunch of teams all crushing in on each other, and it's going to be Loops in Power Grid holding the line against all the stragglers who are able to survive this transition, execute Klaze and the Knights. And what a risky bomb in from Execute. They're not taken out just yet, and they put themselves in front of Knights. And they're keeping out.
One member already, just like that. Loops has 4 kills, so they are doing really solid. They catch Echo driving backwards, trying to get a different angle. Dadin's putting some shots down range onto him. And it looks like Execute just opted to hold the edge of the circle right here. Possibly make sure they keep their backs clear. We'll see how they opt to play this one. Right now, driving real slowly. It looks like this is the spot they're opting to take.
HQA now coming in from the opposite side. They've been shoulder to shoulder with Cloud9 this entire game, and ooh, that was a bit of a risky engagement by Kai Wang there, because now Cloud9 know that there's someone just over the hill, and automatically Beowulf turning around, knowing that they might have to fight HQA, and that could be a good engagement for them to take out a shift like this. They might just want to make a transition down towards the south. You can see how open it is below them. This is going to be a rough shift, though.
A horrible shift for them, and Pyra, you know, getting knocked to fall damage, that can't feel good. And I know we're talking about your HQA risky engagement, but with them currently in last place, I think that's what we have to see almost at this point, that desperation. Like, they just need to start killing people like crazy. At the same time, though, you got to do it at the right time, right place. And now Cloud9 getting some shots on the Alpha 7, and these are a lot of team fights happening outside of the circle.
There's value to these fights, though. When the circle hard shifts back and forth in opposite directions like it has this time around, you don't have the benefit of making big macro decisions. Sometimes you just need to fight. But Beowulf being taken out is a huge benefit for Alpha 7. They've already lost one player, and they're making this a 3 versus 3. But Ace have rotated onto the west side, and they might want in on this engagement. They might want in on these points.
That's a tough shot to hit right there, and especially out of a bike. It's moving so quickly. Uneven had a great spot, just unscoped though at the worst moment. It's going to allow Alpha 7 to get a little bit of movement going on here. You can see Matos trying to throw out those smokes as they're trying to prepare to get into the next zone. They're still quite a minute away from it, but Cloud9 is just not letting them leave right now.
It's a rough standoff. It's a rough catch-22 for all of these teams. Phase 4 blue is just... Oh, wait!
The party.
Who's that? INTZ, I think.
Ega on top of the hill, just popping some shots down onto all this. So INTZ, they're in this next circle. So they're opting to hold that mountain and try to get these extra points. Kill points so valuable, especially right now for these teams. And, oh man, Alpha 7, they're pressing Cloud9. They want to take this squad out right now.
They have to, because that pressure from INTZ, and they take this engagement, and even gets a very good spray up, immediately traded out by Swagrin, and shooting out to the blue where the final Cloud9 members are remaining. It's just Adder trying to heal up as best as he can. But no, it's going to be it. Taken out by the blue.
That. Done. The blue zone just too strong. The rest of the squad's trying to get in past this blue zone as well. HQA driving into Picado into so many teams. Oh, almost the run over. NTX able to get the knock though. And here we go, the last member, Skies. You can see him. Uzi out, but just not enough. Influence able to gatekeep HQA and take them out early.
Oh, shots. Who's that? Who got knocked?
NTX. And it looks like that's from the mountain range right there outside of zone. So that might open up. That's Quinto from G25.
Ooh.
Big knock with the mini.
So much action happening. We have to wait minutes for the kill feed to catch up to what we just saw because of how rough this transition was. And so many teams making their way into Picado because fighting over the hilltop, overlooking it, is incredibly difficult. It's already held down by INTZ. It's already held down by G25. It's already held down by Loop, some of the most difficult teams to push into. And this is so many teams' forced position of last resort. But over here on the west side, Brazilian Rampage versus the Knights.
The Pittsburgh Knights, they need these points so bad. Jack G throwing some nades out, trying to get a knock here. Next circle about to pop, and this is going to be the crucial one to see who's going to have the best advantage going into this next zone. And it looks like it centers up away from a lot of these teams, dead center. And that is all mountain range, big mountain range as well. I know that placed really well. So that's going to be a really tough spot to finish this game. We'll see how they play it off. Jack G's just like bouncing back and forth and decided to finally let that smoke off and try to pick up his teammate.
Most teams are going to be fighting with their immediate neighbor with zero hope of making it to the end game reliably.
So hard. This is such a difficult shift, especially this area to fight, because there's just a big mountain dead center of it, and everyone's just going to have to kill each other and try to get on into it. And we can just see right now Brazilian Rampage trying to desperately get into this next circle. Loops in a good, solid position at the edge of here to be able to gatekeep them. And they got a lot of sight lines looking down that mountain range.
We'll see how successful Loops can be by holding the line. They're not in the dead center, but they are still defending, which is generally where historically we haven't seen them be the most successful. But most of the action is actually happening towards the east or towards the south because XSET just took care of the Knights. And here is the Picado fight. So many teams trying to find a way to leave or at least get to the northern side. It's currently sectioned off in these 3 different areas. Tempo with the most powerful position, but with them being so widespread, if B4 and Influence Rage attack at the same time, they could tear them apart. But again, Tempo Storm playing so well recently.
Oh, what a nade!
Oh, in the teeth! Right in the face!
Headshot nade from J7 right there to open it up. Here comes the follow-up, and there goes Nenebete down and out. What a clutch grenade from Tempo. Gatekeeping it, and oh, you called it so right, Cameron. I mean, this is a battle of neighbors right here. Two got teams dropping down like flies, and now B4, they realize, you know what, that little hill, I don't think that's that's not safe at all right now, because J7's got that covered.
But where is
Gotta
safe?
get the zone.
Yeah, this position isn't even in the circle. At least Influence Rage to the east side, inside the arena, have a little bit of a corner of their building to work with. They have nothing, but over here on the west, Execute, they took care of the Knights, now they're forcing themselves into Tribe. Already a couple of knocks against them, and Loops there to finish things off. Tribe didn't need to work too hard for that, but still, 3 kills, down to 2 players. How much further can they sneak into this game?
They need it. They need it so desperately bad, especially after game number 1. They're currently in 17th place, need to pass up meta and have a huge, huge game number 2. We'll see how it ends up going for them, though, because this is so difficult to move around with, this mountain range. And this next zone, if it hard shifts off them, they are not going to be happy. We'll see where it ought to go, and it's going to go north. So right now, Tempo Storm, B4 Influence, they are screaming at the top of their lungs. B4 realizes it. They're starting to throw some nades in now. They have to fight. 38 seconds left on the clock. What do you do?
You got to fight. You had to fight early. You still got to fight now. The north ship doesn't change any of that. All it changes is that Loops, their push into the center of the circle is being rewarded. They can just overlook everyone, even third party at INTZ as well. But INTZ are currently focused on G25. They try to put themselves in a good secondary position to kill members who are trying to retreat from Picado. But now they're taken out. Influence Rage, they're making the send. INTZ, do they have the angle? G25, Kinto does. Castiel already taken down. And this could pull resources from Influence Rage onto this one last player. And Tempo also pushing out. But here's where Loop's high ground comes in key.
You see them hitting that lay down so they can get that little extra recoil control. Tempo still trying to put in some work. 6 kills, doing great so far. And look at that, just pre-fire through the smoke. Loops fed it out, just making it difficult for these teams to even move it. Muscle. Tensa, though, he's pushing his way through with the sweat off his own back right here with some crazy shots with that M4. And just the pressure is on right now, especially I think if you're INTZ. You need a ridiculous amount of points to get to top 16. You need this chicken dinner and a ton of kills. And this is a good opportunity to get that started.
Problem is, finding these last few kills can be difficult. Look at all the terrain that people are hiding in and around. Mids can take it down is not a good start either. Quinto's gonna drop that. The last member, G25, trying to carry the banner as far as they can, but over here, the last survivors of Picado, J7 and a member of B4 trying to fight 1-1. Mixera spots in the blue from the danger zone. Takes out Tempo Storm, but look at that health slowly tick away.
Oh, and it's so difficult to move up this. Darius is going to spot him, get that free point. 7 kills so far for INTZ, 10 for Loops. I mean, this is the position to be in. Tribe, G3, still alive, the last one up for his squad, and he's already been able to get into top 4. You know he wants top 3 really bad. Those 10 points could be crucial for them. I mean, that's the only thing that separates them between 15th and 16th, and they already got 3 kills. We'll see if they'll be able to get it, though. You're going to have to beat NTX to the punch. And right now, he's just looking for a way to get up this mountain because this blue zone's coming.
10 kills for Loops. Federal has been knocked. Carrillo's in a position to get the revive. Wanted to cover. Wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to get caught on the rotation. But Loops have this game down lock, I have to say. INTZ are 2 wounded. They're already down to 2 players. But Tribe make it into a top 4 at least. And I think NTX is going to be taken out quite soon. So I think this is a closer guaranteed top 3. But INTZ found an angle onto Loops. It should be an easy revive if this grenade doesn't hit. Can he bank it right?
Waiting for it, try to find it. This could be just so crucial if it hits. Good, decent bounce. Will he get the roll? Oh, not far enough. Really unfortunate for INTZ. They're going to start throwing some more down there. Trying to catch Loops. This is so difficult to fight in. You're going to have to jump off eventually. G3's got nades coming on all around him. Oh, look at that. Darius does catch Carrillo right there. That's a good start. I think this may end up being a heal off, though, with this kind of terrain.
Yeah, it might be. And with Loops with 4 players up, it is definitely a good beginning for them. It's a good advantage for them. They've had to revive a lot, though. That could affect them a little bit. Loops finds Tribe. That's them out in 3rd, so INTZ secure the 2nd. They're not making it into this. You say it's a heal off. Loops don't have to heal because they can just back away into the circle. INTZ, I don't see a way out of this unless the Loops throw the match, give it to them.
Hey, Christmas miracle. Can it happen? We'll have to see. Carrillo, he sees
Here's
Gamma.
a Christmas present for you.
Yeah, right there. Here you go. I got one for you right there. And there it is. Hand delivered from Carrillo to you, Gamma. And look at this, jumping 360s down. And Loops just saying, you know what? We ain't going to leave this into a heel-off. We're going to take our first chicken dinner of the PUBG Mobile Pro League. Can you believe it, Cameron? Loops have done it. That's right, their first chicken dinner, and it's won with 13 kills.
I know that they haven't been as dominant in the Pro League as they were in the World League, but that's still so weird to think. But if I'm not mistaken, they were pretty secure into the top 16. Anyway, this is more looking at teams like INTZ and Tribe. But man, this actually does look like a nice resurgence of Loops. This was such a wacky circle to play around with once it's centered up over that mountain overlooking Picado. We saw how difficult that terrain in the late game was to manage. But still, we'll see how this affects the standings.
Oh, man, I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up, man. Jason, Loops, they've done it. They've done it.
It broke the curse. They finally got a chicken dinner.
I can't believe it.
Make a PMPL Americas Season 1.
Goodness.
Is this the Loops that come out on top by over 100 points from every other team in the finals? Is this one of the teams that we could finally see as saying, yeah, Loops could easily be another team in the top 3? Because right now, for me, it's all about Queso. I mean, yeah, in the end of things, it doesn't matter that much because they're secure, like you guys said, but to get some weight off their shoulders, they've got like a 300-pound bar on their shoulders trying to squat, and I've tried to do that, and it doesn't work out well for you because you herniate a disc and then you can't walk for 6 months. But that is massive for them. And you know what? You two get to take a quick little break. I don't know what I'm talking about, but Glitter will know because she definitely does lift a lot of weights and lifts a lot heavier than me. Let's bring them in, 7 and Glitter. And 7, if I ever do need a rowing mate, I'm definitely gonna hit you up because you've been working on those lats sitting there. But what a big game. Loops. Honestly, great to see, but this gives me flashbacks to last season. It scares me for other teams.
Finally did it. They finally did it, dude. And this is something that I was mentioning at the start of the show. Can Loops finally get that win? And then if they're able to, are we going to start seeing, as you were mentioning from previous tournaments, it took them a very long time to get a win. And oh my God, look at the damage right there. 2,400 damage, only 376 heal. I think that had to do with the position that they were in, and they were able to take full advantage of that. And I think we might be able to get a illustration there for you towards the end. They were able to get some beautiful angles. But with Loops, I think this is going to put a notice to all of the other teams. Team Queso, G25 Gaming, it becomes a mental play. Can Loops become that Loops that we know they're capable of getting those? I mean, as they were able to show there, 13 kill wins, 16 kill wins, even 20 kill wins if they're able to. This is just going to make the finals a lot more fun.
You know what's crazy? I think, Glitter, a lot of people out there will probably look at it as, if they didn't watch Season 1, wondering, why are they praising Loops so highly? Why are we caring so much they're able to get themselves that one chicken dinner? But the thing is, we know how strong Loops can be. If this was any other team, you're like, all right, great, they got a chicken dinner. But because it's them, because of what we've seen them do in the past, we know they have that potential to carry the momentum through easily into finals.
Yeah, they definitely have that potential. And if that's what this is, if this is like their starting off point, like you said, I am a little bit scared for the rest of the teams in the lobby. However, if we look down the rest of the list, we do see INTZ able to get a massive 20 points for them. That's going to be huge for their overall score. Influence Rage also able to get 5 kills and 8 placement points. Tribe, we saw G3, I believe, trying to stay alive for so long, able to get Tribe a 3rd place finish and 3 kill points. That's going to be huge for Tribe, considering they were trying to recoup some points against Meta from last round. Tempo, aggressive again, 7 kills, and then B4 Esports, Brazilian Rampage, who's trying to maintain their position, and Ace One round out the top 8, their 7.
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Influence Rage, from Tribe Gaming, all of these teams that we were mentioning at the top of the show. They're, even though they might not be getting the flashiest points, they're still getting points, which is good. You see Alpha 7's there. Alpha 7 has fallen off a little bit. Hopefully they can start picking it up. Execute there with 3 points. Remember, Kill Switch, their main fragger, is currently sitting out. I want to see how they're going to be performing later out. Overall, though, I want to give you guys a quick little stats. Influence Rage and Nova Esports are currently tied with points, although Influence Rage has played 1 more game, and they're currently, the only reason why Influence Rage is a little bit higher, besides the 1 extra point, is because they have a lot more kills.
Okay, I'm gonna also try to blow some people's minds here. So by the way, we had Meta take 12 points in the first game, right? Then we had Tribe take 13 points here. I think we've maybe seen Tribe pass Meta, but for me, I'm looking more towards INTZ. 20 points. They needed 132 points, or 133 points to pass our predicted bubble, our predicted 16th place points, and they already took 20 off the scoreboard from that one. That's not a bad start. They obviously have a huge marathon of a race to go, but that's what you want to see it out of that team, knowing, and then themselves knowing that we have to score big here this weekend. Let's take a look at our Mountain Dew game fuel moments in that last match, but we're really starting to see some big mix-ups here and some real potential. And I love to see this. I love to have those nail-biter finishes like we had for World League. Literally, we didn't know who the winner was until Loops died as like the 4th place team in the very end of World League West Finals.
Yeah,
I mean, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Now I'm stressed out, Jason.
Right? I mean, because we didn't know, like, if Loops won that game, they would have taken 1st place away from Footballists. But right now, with how this is going, I think we're pretty much set up for the last game of the day of the entire 4th week to determine if a team gets in or a team gets knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, the difference right now between 9th place and 16th place is like 50 points, as we'll be able to see later on. And then you have 16 and 17, only pretty much the difference is just 3 points. Everything is gonna be so close, man. And the reason why I'm kind of super excited, not only because Loops finally got the win for Brazil, is that I'm excited to see how they're gonna be able to bounce back from that. I'm excited to see if they're gonna be able to carry that momentum. As you were saying, Jason, we know they're able to carry momentum from previous tournaments, but so far this tournament, we really haven't been able to see it that much. We've been able to see them be consistent towards like the middle of the pack throughout the whole tournament. But now that they finally got that win out of the way, now that we're finally starting to see flashes of the Loops that we're used to, can they carry that momentum? And for me, Glitter, I think the next game is going to be able to tell a lot, as we're seeing here some of the highlights.
Yeah, the next game will definitely give us some extra insight into that because, to be fair, I mean, that end zone was a little bit rough. Loops had high ground over everybody for a very long time, and we were watching the rest of the squads try to either like wrap around to get an angle or having to fight up towards Loops, which obviously is less than ideal. So hopefully they're, like you said, able to move forward with this momentum. But either way, they're safe for the finals. It's about whether or not this level of gameplay can be repeated in the finals to put them in that top 3 position, because that's what everybody's going to be fighting for, right? And then we're watching here the final moments of this zone that I was just talking about, and these angles that INTZ was trying to get were insane. I mean, they were smart because they obviously didn't have the numbers against Loops, but Tribe, you can see right there, G3 going down in 3rd place. He was able to secure some extra and very, very much needed placement points for his squad.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Tribe Gaming needed right there. They needed those players to clutch up. And something that I enjoyed about INTZ there is they didn't just try to go for the heal off right away. They were still throwing nades. They were still being aggressive. They realized, hey, if we wanna make a difference, if we want to get close to that 16th place, we need to get those extra points in regards to kills. So I respect that they were throwing nades. I respect that one of the other players was also trying to go for a flank.
Yeah, and they have to make the big plays if they want to be able to make the big moves when it comes to our leaderboards. But teams who are making big moves now, teams who are making big moves now are on our damage leaderboard, as we saw here in the last match. Loops definitely should be taking that 1st place. I'm more looking towards INTZ, which we can see with the 1550 damage being done. Tribe, again, not really much damage being done here, but going back to what we talked about towards the start of the day, Glitter, you know, teams who are on that cusp right now of being in 16th place, do you play extra safe or do you play extra crazy? And I think maybe we're seeing Tribe play a little bit safer today. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that in particular.
No, I would definitely agree. I was going to say they're playing a lot more conservatively than we've seen them play in the past, because we have seen a lot of aggression capable out of Tribe. We've seen Telly make plays. We've seen Seagut make plays. Like, we know that those players can take those engagements, but right now they don't necessarily need to. What they need to focus on is a less risky way to ensure themselves some placement points, especially when they have the very first game that they had today of the day. They don't want to have to come back from behind, which is essentially what they had to do in this game because of how well Meta did. So if this is what's working out well for them, at this point they just have to do whatever works to get them into finals, and then if they want to switch it up from there, they can.
I feel like if you're one of those teams like Tribe right now, you better hope you didn't piss any of the top teams off, because they could just hot drop you and just ruin your day. Imagine getting 0 points from a match. That would hinder your progress so greatly right now, right? And I wonder, you know, if HQA was in that position and maybe break through top 16, Loops might say, hey, you remember how you kept hot dropping us on Miramar? Well, hi. But either way, let's move on past this. So we do have something we want to break down, a little bit of a play 7. You want to load it up for us and tell us what it's about?
Yeah, it's going to be the finale there between Loops Esports and INTZ, and also the extra player there from Tribe Gaming as well. We wanted to showcase this. Obviously, it is the first win by Loops, and with INTZ being one of those teams that could quite possibly, if they just continue to go off, they can definitely get into the top 16. Something that we were mentioning is the grenades that INTZ continued to throw here. And it wasn't just one Glitter. We saw them throw a bunch. Something that I didn't really enjoy out of Loops Esports is how grouped up they were here on this section. Hopefully in the future,
flashbacks to Cloud9.
I think yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty much the exact same reason. Because look, if this nade, it just kind of passed by, if that could have hit right there, oh, the tables would have turned so much. Something that extra that Loops Esports did do is that one of their players, you're gonna see, he decided to jump down and he decided to start covering the angle from over here. That's good. That's what I like to see. I like them to be able to cover angles, and you see Kayovsky being able to get that player with I believe that was a Tribe Gaming player, and then from here on out, Carrillo now knowing that there is going to be a player down here from INTZ, guess what? He starts trying to get an angle, and more than likely he's going to be throwing a grenade and being able to connect there with that INTZ player. Overall, I think some little things, as I mentioned, I think it maybe was the ground that force Loops Esports to be so close together. Maybe in the future they'll be able to adjust that. We're being a little bit nitpicky here since it is the final week, but I enjoyed it, man. And the reason why I wanted to showcase this, obviously Loops Esports, their first win, INTZ being able to get some points that they definitely needed, and overall Loops, congratulations, finally Finally, you guys got the win, and you know what? Let me just back it up a little more. There you go. There you go. Oh, wait. Hold on. What is that? There you go. There it is. And while we're at it, let me just add a cool little explosion right there.
Okay, I was expecting a seal of approval from someone, and I was getting really scared what picture it would be this time. Yeah, I don't want to know what you're going to have for us in the finals.
Just wait for the finals.
Yeah, oh, man.
Just wait for the finals, Jason. I'm waiting on the sign-offs.
Well, I'm deleting all my pictures on Instagram and Twitter, so you can't pull any of those. But you guys, we're going to be going to a quick break yet again. When we come back, we still have our third match of the day. Remember, we just hit our halfway point. It's only 4 matches today, but we'll be coming back with Vikendi for match 3.
Mountain Dew?
Squads. There's loot on the horizon for however you find victory. For the combat chauffeurs. For those who strike from above or from below. For the experts in pan-to-pan combat. Whether you're taking a leap of faith or just aren't afraid of a close call. Fuel your path to winner chicken dinner with ice-cold Mountain Dew. And with exclusive loot from Mountain Dew fuel stations. Spawning on a map near you.
Well, we do have our next match already ready to go and ready to get underway, but we gotta refresh your memory of who's playing in this one, and it's not gonna be Group B. So Group A and Group C playing. We have Vikendi coming up next. We got Hot Jukes and Cameron Davis both looking equally good in their red shirts. I have to say, a big fan of the red. I know it looks really dark here on camera, but it's not that dark in person. Though you guys are a lot lighter than mine, to be fair, and you guys look way better than I do, which is why I specifically requested you guys are not allowed to come here in the studio to stand next to me, because then I would definitely not be the most handsome one here. So moving forward now with the next game. Look at those looks. Come on, you guys know you're better looking than me.
I don't believe it. I don't believe that for 1 second, Jason.
Yeah, don't sell your short. Words. Don't sell yourself short. I actually really like that shirt, if I'm being honest.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're wearing there, Jason.
I appreciate that. I like how you guys look as well. But also, I want to know your guys' thoughts on what's going on here. INTZ. I know it's a Hail Mary, right? What's up? My pants?
Oh, I said, oh yeah, the games.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I heard something different. INTZ though. I know it's a little bit of a Hail Mary here, right? They were 132 points behind the bubble earlier in the day. They scored 20 points in that last match. They still have, I think, 8 matches left to go. 5, 6, 7 matches to go. Can they come back the next 7 matches to pull in 110 points? I feel like it's a tough ask, but that's a good start, right?
Yeah, I think they need at least 3 chicken dinners, easily. Like 3 chicken dinners with some pop-off kills to even stand a chance. And you got to hope the other teams don't do well as well. So if you're INTZ, I mean, the door, it's still there, but I mean,
it's closing.
You're gonna have to they have to do something that they haven't done before. And it's gonna be really difficult to do, especially with the different maps we got coming up and the fact that all these teams are playing so desperately to do it. But in my opinion, the big story is Tribe. Because Tribe they have, 45 games played so far. There's a lot of teams that have 43 and 44. So they're the only team that hasn't gotten a chicken dinner yet. And I think that their backs are against the wall more than almost any other team right now, especially considering that now they're in 16.
I mean, they're saving all the chickens for the finals, right, Cameron? But no, I mean, obviously looking at their style, I think we were talking with Glitter about they've gone more passive, but that kind of worries me as well, right? Because in one aspect, they're playing passive to obviously not get knocked out of the top 6 team, but at the same time, we know this team can get kills. We know they can confirm them, but I'm worried that they might be too scared to actually pull the trigger and try to make something happen off of it. But I am hearing the game is ready, so I'm going to throw you 2 straight into it. If you want to talk about that, feel free. Enjoy, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Jason. Here we go, everybody, into match number 3. We're taking it over to Vikendi, the snowy lands, baby. So this is a really big, important match for a lot of squads. Every single game going forward is absolutely crucial. But back to what we were talking about earlier, Cameron, what are your thoughts as far as with Tribe right now?
It's really hard to say because whether they're playing safe or not, or like more defensive or not, or if you want to say it, you could also argue whether it's them being defensive or them being, what we mentioned earlier, indecisive or perhaps scared. It's just unfortunate that this team still hasn't really had a full showcasing of what their identity was intended to be from the beginning of this roster. And Vikendi is, now that they're going into this map, this is really not a map that you can play scared, that you can play defensive, that you can play passive in, because we've all seen how the tempo of this map usually plays out. It's a slow phase 1, it's an incredibly slow phase 2, phase 3 can be a little bit of a mix, but once phase 4 hits, it maxes out in terms of violence. It maxes out in terms of aggressiveness because of just the way that the terrain generally interacts. That being said, it has been a while since we have seen an Eastern Circle like this. Most of the action that I have had the privilege of watching on Vikendi have been more west, maybe more north. So this could have a little bit of a different flavor to it.
Mixing it up. I mean, and I think that's a good thing. I think you make a great point. Vikendi's a really tough match to play. I think that's why Tribe, sitting out of this one, I mean, they got to be pretty excited not to play in this zone for themselves. They only have, and this is what I was kind of talking about, is they have a lot more games played than the rest of these squads. And you got teams like Meta, who has 44. You got Pittsburgh Knights, who has 43. So they're going to do some catching up as well. So I'm really looking forward to see how they go. But right now, looking at this map, everybody seems to land pretty spread out so far. Nothing that I could see. Oh, Wildcard and Meta really close together here. Could possibly see an early fight with these two outlying members.
I feel like it's just me, or is Wildcard consistently in the early game engagements? Kunina Power aren't even here to contest Villanova with them, and they keep finding these fights. It's these teams on the Southwest that always find these fights against each other. It's usually Nova, I feel, but this time it's Meta. Or maybe it's sometimes always a combination of those three squads. Either way, Wildcard and Meta now got to try and find a way to get out of this sticky situation and find their way in across the bridge into the Eastern Circle. But here comes a backup from Abdul to try and get Escanor out of this.
Yeah, he's going to come in and try and support his team. Normally we see Cloud9 around here too. They're sitting out as well. Movatra, Vihar, this seems to be their area. And I think we're seeing a lot of teams land here specifically because, like you mentioned, that zone just sometimes just like to lock onto that southwestern side. But since it didn't, these two squads are going to have to battle it out here most likely, unless they just say, hey, you know what, guys? You go this way, we'll go this way, and fight each other late game. But it doesn't look like that's the plan so far.
It's a bit of a jumbling up of both these squads. Waiting for an engagement, and I don't think these teams really want this to last as long as it already has. Their loot timing's very, very low. Gasby's pulling up with the ride, but they're still not leaving. Rolex has a little bit of a sense of Spring's position, but Rolex is also the one that is surrounded by Wildcard. Could easily get isolated here. Part of me feels like the rest of Meta should just leave. They gotta leave their boy behind. But you want to get into the circle, and Rolex could still do some damage to Wildcard if they don't know exactly where he is. For example, the rest of Meta could pop into their vehicle, pull away, Leon peeks out, tries to punish that, and then it gets backstabbed. We've seen that happen multiple times before, but Meta, I think they're committing to this.
Yeah, they're trying to get Rolex out of there. You can see some smokes coming out here at these stairs as well. Leon's that real X factor. He's got, okay, as soon as he heard those shots, he's going to get on the roof, and he might have a good angle on down to them, especially if he has a grenade in his hand. We'll see how it ends up playing out, though, as you can just see Wildcard preferring the roof play. Meta really grouped up. Oh, Leon's got such a great spot. Can he catch one of these members to kind of open up this fight? We'll see right here, as he is just really using that three-peak to his advantage.
He did. There was a little bit of a... You saw the top of that building sort of blocked Leon from spotting one of meta players from rotating away, but still no real engagement here. Rolex is able to leave the building, but Spring's calling it. Popping the grenade out. It looks like it bounced well, but Rolex, luckily enough, able to jump away. Oh, was that a smoke grenade? I thought that was a frag.
Yeah, it looked like, I mean, you expect it would be, but I think that maybe it's Wildcard opting not to try and fight this early on, because at the same time, I don't think they're aware of, well, they have no clue which team this is yet. You know, they haven't been able to get an initial knock, so they could be concerned that it is a different squad. Now, to be fair, I think if Wildcard does get a knock and realize it's meta, they may get a little bit extra aggressive. That seems to be their preferred playstyle. We'll see, though, how it all turns out. This first knock in these kind of fights are just so crucial.
So Rolex was able to get away from the surround that Wildcard had on him. Now Leon is the one in trouble. A little bit of engagement. Rolex still trying to leave. And at this position, at this timing, I think Meta might want to leave here. Come on. Meta, you
get out of here.
Committed to this fight.
Get out of here.
Why are you committed? I'm getting mad.
Give it up, man. I mean, like, yeah. I know they don't realize that this is Wildcard, but regardless, like,
it doesn't matter.
Where you're sitting at, you're sitting in 17th place. You cannot go out.
Look at the map.
Points. Yeah,
and phase one is.
And you gotta get into the zone. So, like, you're absolutely right. Gasme's now stuck. I don't know how he ended up kind of rotating up into the building. And it looks like they're just gonna play a waiting game. And now they're gonna have, if they do even get out of this and get into the next circle, they're going to be underlooted and really behind, because this is not an easy zone to get into. Only so many bridges you can cross. We'll see if how it turns out, though. I mean, it's just a stalemate right now between Meta and Wildcard.
The vehicle start by Meta almost beat it, Sam, but let's look at somewhere else on the map. These are the important fights. These are the teams that are likely to actually go far in this event because they're actually in the circle. So many teams trying to stack around center, and unlike other parts of Vikendi, there isn't as much of a density of compounds here that are just isolated from each other. There's a lot of open hills with buildings in them, but they're still open comparatively so. So we're seeing some adjustments, some maneuvering around for teams trying to find what position they want to, but also are able to put themselves in. Some trades back and forth, but no real engagements. Yes, thank you, Meta. They're leaving.
You go.
Thankfully. Oh my God.
Oof. Finally, I mean,
7 minutes, but they left.
And looks like they are going to be able to make it out of here, at least, with all 4 members intact. Leon trying to use his parkour skills. Didn't have the hops enough to get on over there. Hurt Sinkles a little bit. But, yeah, now Wildcard is going to be able to loot the rest of this town pretty freely. And then they're going to have a late rotation onto this circle. But that's a lot of time wasted right there between that stalemate. I mean, and every second counts, especially in a map like Vikendi.
Yeah, at least Wildcard, as you mentioned, can continue to loot up. They're going to have to rotate. They're going to have to loot in the blue, and then rotate into blue. But we know that Phase 2 doesn't shrink smaller than Phase 1 at all. So the fact that they're able to loot is probably the biggest benefit to them right now, despite having to come in late. But the aggressiveness that Wildcard like to employ could be a... coming in late could work to their advantage. We just saw an engagement in the kill.
I think they're used to that.
Knights and Nova. Yeah, they are used to it.
Yeah, especially since they, Erangel, they like to go Severny, so we get a lot of southern circles there. So them kind of coming late into zone, I think, is not too out of their field of expertise. But at the same time, anytime you have to try to cross into an island with only so many few bridges, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So we'll see how it ends up playing out for them. A lot of teams still in the blue zone execute, doing a really far rotation. I know you guys can't see it here on screen, but they are going to have a while getting into this next zone. And that's what we're just seeing. Still early game. A lot of people just trying to rotate in and just find a spot, waiting for the next zone to get in. At least it's not a half water circle. That's
true. That is true. There's a little bit of water in play, but it's nothing that's really going to affect teams much at all. And so, as I mentioned, I do expect a slow early game, barring those early engagements that we saw just momentarily. Everyone should be staying pretty safe right now. The teams that have made it to the center have all seemed to come to an agreement of where they're all going to be positioning. And unless we see a hard shift, it's sort of going to stay like this, except for the few, say 4 or 5 teams coming in from the edge. But even them, they should have the room to position around each other. And it's all teams finding information, staying safe until the mid game hits.
Oh yeah, and they're going to have to really pop off here. Meta has to be especially careful now that they just got knocked down into 17th. They're only 3 points behind Tribe, but they do have 1 game played less than Tribe, so they'll have another opportunity to catch up. But you do not want to go out with 0 points here, and you can see them being really careful on this driving rotation not to get taken out. And just rest of these teams just trying to drive in through the blue. and find a spot in the circle. Look how many squads just rotating this late right now.
Yeah. I feel like this whole southern part of Vikendi just really baits teams for being as late as possible, more than any other position on the map. And this bridge on the south side might force an engagement. You can tell these teams all want to move. They're shooting at each other, but it's more of a, hey, back away from B. I can do, like, do not come this way. We'll leave you alone if you leave us alone. The bridges might force some sort of engagement, but actually Brazilian Rampage, despite being in the circle, that shift, despite it not really going anywhere in one direction or another, does put more emphasis on the eastern island. And so Brazilian Rampage trying to cross over, and they're coming right into 19's compound.
And Asta is, oh, he got tapped by that nade a little bit. He's got a really good angle for a molly, but Brazilian Rampage, they're getting their angles themselves. And we'll see how 19 wants to play it. Asta's the only one that's pushed up on this side of the street. Oh, he got naded really hard. 1 HP, getting caught from HQA from across the map. And that's gonna, yeah, take him out really early. So HQA with the assist right there. Nunez appreciates it. Closes the door. He's gonna take that loot, and I think they're just gonna hold on to that point and wait for the next circle.
Yeah, no need to cross that road. I would have liked to see 19 pull Asta way down towards the south. Even if they wanted to try and attempt to hold both sides, they did it in a very weak fashion. We didn't see what happened in the initial Brazilian Rampage push. It's possible that he just got caught out, and 19 were originally holding it 2-2. But either way, it's now going to be a bit of a standoff between these two sides. I don't see a push going one way or another. Defeaters in B4, this is a different situation though. Both these teams are sort of out in the open and could find angles onto each other. The fact that there are 2 down for Defeaters is really bad, but Fishy, the last member remaining for Defeaters, push coming in from Maxon. They smell blood in the water.
Oh yeah, and especially realizing that it is this Defeater squad. You know that they're gonna come and try to soak up all these points that they can. I love to see Fishy though still having the fight in him. You know, just not going out easy, doing everything he can. But this one nade from Maxon, if it does go through that window, will it hit the mark? Dope, does bounce out, so it gives Fishy a couple more seconds here to try and make a play. Pre-Molotovs it. Oh, that molly though, that one's gonna start burning him up. And he's already half HP, trying to do some jump shots. But yeah, just gonna get taken out there by
wait, oh, who's this?
Oh, third party! Took out 2, it looks like the Unnamed.
The Unnamed went in on this. There's also some back and forth between Brazilian Rampage and 19, but we're now looking at the Knights versus Execute, 2 teams who are rotating from the south, trying to find the same position on the southeast side. And the Knights, again, unable to find a strong position they go hold off against. They're back to cowering in a corner. How many times have we seen the Knights in a position just like this? 2 dead. A good grenade from Flash, but it doesn't find the knock.
We have seen one game where the Knights had 2 up and they had a pop-off match, but they're gonna have to do a repeat of it right here, right now. To stand a chance. Great knock. That's a good way to start. Third party coming in from the other angle as well. Does take out Flash though, so that's gonna be really tough. It's all up to Goldblade. 2v1, Execute, Fate, the pre-fire, Uzi reload. Yeah, it's just too strong. Execute, taking out Pittsburgh Knights, and that's really unfortunate for PK, who's currently sitting in 18th. Oh, that wasn't a third party. I'm sorry, that was not a third party. That was Zute on a crazy off angle right there on the mountain. Well done.
Back in the rest of the map. Now that there's one less team involved, 2 overall, 14 teams remaining. The circle is going to center up a little bit towards the south, but it's not as insignificant as Phase 2, but Phase 3 shift is not that much smaller either way. It's really just teams warming up. They're getting their stretches in. They're getting their practice kicks in, ready for the Phase 4 pop-off to begin. And look at how spread a lot of these teams are. This is what I mean by how wide open this area is. It gives teams the options of having these splits like Alpha 7, like Queso, or both employing loops as well. They just need to as always, be aware of teams pushing in from opposite angles that they might not expect Unnamed before both pushing in from the north. But this 19 Brazilian Rampage engagement, Brazilian Rampage, it's in their name. They want to rampage over anyone and everyone, despite being able to just hold both sides evenly between the 2 squads. They want to force their neighbors out. Manifest Destiny, baby.
Sneaky there, just sneaking our way on in, and you can see Trix trying to pull out some cheeky pre-nades here to try and catch him slipping. Oh, great Molotov right there. But it's up to Tricks, 3v1 right now to hold this down. Can he do it? Gets a good knock. The pre-nade catches Sentry. Great way to start. And I wonder if the rest of his squad's gonna come help him out. Oh, they got knocked from looks like Garcia. And so now it's just Tricks all by himself. Bouncing off these nades. Trying to do anything to survive. Oh man, he is just completely surrounded right now.
Yeah, you could tell he wanted to retreat back to his teammates, which would have been great if they were, of course, standing, but now he is being flooded over. It doesn't matter how many players are knocked. Unless it's a 1 versus 1, he has very little chance of winning this out. Smokes deployed everywhere to try and cause some chaos, but it's going to be on Brazilian Rampage to throw bodies at him one at a time in order for Tricks to win this. They're getting everyone up and standing. And now they're forcing it into the attic. He can't even get one knock before he is taken out. And Brazilian Rampage, 4 kills, have this position. This is a good start for them.
Huge start for them. I mean, that is big time, especially considering where they're at, because they're only 6 points ahead of 16th place. So for them to get some extra kills was really big. I saw him switch to the DPS. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't have that out already. And just got taken out really quickly right there from Brazilian Rampage. Well executed from them. Not an easy fight to win. And it's good that they did it right then, especially considering where they're at in the map. Now they have some time to get the loot and try to get into this next circle. Oh,
shots on exit. Yeah, they tried to push in.
That was a snipe.
Not safe enough, and so they're having to back away. They're getting shot by Alpha 7, who have a bunch of different angles. It's all long range, but they're just going to fall back because this circle shift was a little bit towards the east enough that they can just try and play safe. It's not going to be a position that they should be able to win from necessarily unless they get another shift on to their position, but it's definitely the safer play right now. Let the other teams that are in the central sort of fight it out amongst themselves. It's a low risk, lower reward, but it is still a good play, I think, by Execute.
Yo, Fame Boy saw his live flash before his eyes right there. That Card 98 shot just hit like the top of his windshield, and he hit the gas immediately. Was able to not get knocked out of that vehicle, so that's going to be really huge for them. And we can see XSET. This is another big of this team. After that chicken dinner, I mean, like we were talking about, they're pretty well set to move on, unless we see the rest of these squads have some crazy pop-off games. At the same time, though, there's only so many points available. So we'll see how it ends up playing out for them. You know, they want to have a strong day. Already started off strong with game 1. We'll see how it plays off. But right now, we're still on Brazilian Rampage. 4 kills, and you can just see them. I love how they're playing really tight together and just pushing up each hill piece by piece.
Yeah. This is one reason why it was really strong of them to take 19. It was a risky fight to take, because they didn't have to at that moment, and they could have lost any number of players. But now they have so much freedom to play around with, not just in spacing, but also in time. Unfortunately, they only have 1 vehicle to play with, and they might be driving directly into XSET. I don't know if this one's going to be the play. They're trying to wrap away, breaking line of sight, trying to come in from the north side. But the damage of the blue is really starting to heat up. It's starting to add up together. The circle centers up. XSET and Brazilian Rampage both trying to find their way into the circle, but they're going to need a fight at some point.
Oh, and you can see
not each other.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to go into the hidden cave that's right there. You can break that down with the vehicle, but unfortunately with that hard shift, it is out of play in the zone. So now they're going to have to find a way in, and you can just see them possibly just kind of trading out everything, getting ready for this next rotation. Only 24 seconds left on the clock here. They're going to have to push. Yeah, Loops, they're pushing into BDM right now. If you're Brazilian Rampage, this is a perfect third-party opportunity for you guys.
Ooh, they're going aggressive. Catching BDM, prepping grenades. A good initial knock. Trying to get a second on the Duck, but don't find it just yet. But it doesn't matter because they are flooding in.
And look at Duck with those pre-fires, the shimmies. Dadin forcing to switch guns, but he switches to nothing. Just his bare fists, wanting to go mano a mano. Not going to be enough, though. But, oh, Federal able to catch Duck with only 1 HP left. Rafa has to come help out his teammates. Federal is on the ropes. Will Brazilian Rampage come to third party this? We'll see.
Ooh. That's ambitious, assuming that the smokes are going to allow them to crawl back. Even without the threat of a third party, it's going to be Queso. Heard the shots and want to be involved. I feel like Queso are feeling quite antsy now. We know how much they love to fight, and the fact that they only have 2 kills right now means that they have so much energy left to put in to this game.
That saved Federal, but here's a team that is not afraid of third party, and that is XSET. That is Juicy's forte. He loves to be able to use those opportunities to take out squads, and now Brazilian Rampage really late to this party. They're gonna drive right into Federal's building, and look at him. He's hiding, not moving a muscle. They have no clue. Look at him. Sentry's looting. Oh, Federal, this spot is disgusting. A snake in the hay. Look at him. They have no clue he's there.
How can you see him? There might be a small little pixel to spot from around that staircase. But Brazilian Rampage, they're not going to be worried about a threat so close because now XSET are up and pushing them. Federal could go huge. Please, Federal, just wait. Don't
move.
Be risky. Don't move. Wait for this to pop off in the biggest of ways, and then maybe pick up some scraps at the end. But do not jump the gun on this.
Gotta play that super careful. By the way, that bird, it does not show up for other players. So you see his wings flapping, that will not give him away. And he is just gonna, we're off to hold this out as XSET's gonna push Brazilian Rampage. And who knows if they will even be, oh no, Federal just get caught and take it out just like that. There goes Loops and 12, but now here comes XSET trying to think it's a third party opportunity, but it's not. And they are just getting eaten alive right now by Brazilian Rampage. Taking them out.
XSET thought that they could take advantage of a fight that they heard break out. They must not have known that it was just 4 members finding 1, because they pushed in with Garcia from Brazilian Rampage holding the attic and just sprayed them all down. They had no clue what they were walking into. That's why you need a grenade or even a DMR or a sniper or something long range to get that initial knock, because when you just push and dry like that, you can get torn apart, torn to pieces, just absolutely deleted. We haven't mentioned the circle. It's shifted towards the north, and so all these teams on the south are going to have to drive basically neck and neck with each other to get inside, and it's so open. The shots are going to be so chaotic. How do you cross this field?
What do? I mean, Nova, on top of that, some of their tires have already been shot out. HQA, they need every point. I mean, they need all the points to try and make it into top 16. It ain't going to work like that, though. Not with AZ hitting shots that are just absolutely huge. I wonder if Nova, since they realize it's HQA, do you just press up onto them, or do you use that knock to try and sneak on by into this next circle? We'll see, because they are going to get into the one working dossier that they have. Pre-smokes coming out. And here they go. They're going to send it right on into this one. Oh, look at those shots from Brazilian Rampage onto HQA. Brazilian Rampage they're crushing it right now. But will they be able to survive the blue? That's the problem.
Trying to. I like that decision. You can't force yourself into Queso's position to actually get into the circle, so pick up those final few kills you can before you go out to the blue, but unfortunately HQA are somehow able to stay alive as long as they can. And here's the ending of that Nova send. Alpha 7 are just holding the line against them. These few compounds happen to be right on the edge, and that's disastrous. So the Chiefs are trying to make their way in. Good initial nade, but G-Fan taken out by the blue.
And this blue zone is just, it's just chunking down these players. Boss is trying to go for the finish. Yes, he does. He'll be able to secure at least the 1 point before he goes down. And AZ, so they handed AZ all the heals. You can see he's got 9 first aids. So it's just a heal off for him to try to get more placement points.
This exact strategy has given Nova so many crucial points towards the end game. They're actually one of the best at doing this. They know exactly when is the most efficient time to employ that plan B strategy, when it's better time to hold off. With this circle,
especially with a hard shift, right? I mean, we saw Cat do it before and gain about 5 placement points, but unfortunately it looks like they had 1 mistimed first aid. And that's going to be it for them. But still love to see that strategy pulled out, though. Moving on. Big battle still on the playing field. Team Queso, they got a lot of real estate to work with. Here's Execute with 7 kills. Big battles going on. Look at Pedro. He's got the hill. But 15 seconds left.
Yeah, and Queso knows that he's there, but he's able to find a knock inside Ayala, trying to finish that off. That could be huge, because now Queso are down to 2, and that high ground position could have been utilized to their advantage to take care of Execute and the Unnamed, but they're just getting torn apart. This open playing field, it goes both ways.
Dang right it does, and you can just see Team Queso Marco on that other off angle trying to get a little bit of revenge for his teammate, but no, the zone's coming on in. He says, you know what, I have to let it go. And Pedro getting a huge break from the Unnamed and the rest of these squads. Look at Fate with a great nade right there. Love to see that. And they're going to be...
follow-up too.
Yeah, just looking at... Oh, here comes the Unnamed. Willing at this flick. 2v1. He's too strong.
Oh no. Caught against the corner. Its Fate gets taken out. Wasn't expecting this engagement. And now the Unnamed still 2 up. Left in 1 versus 2 for Execute. Zute wants to toss a molly out, but that's the wrong tree.
How did he not...
Expecting a push, potentially. That's what I guessed. But the Unnamed was still trying to play it a little safe right now, because they just arrived here. They don't really know what the full story is, because Alpha 7 also moved up. But Pedro trying to take out Queso. Gets a knock. Can you confirm the kill before he can take it out?
Oh, sir. The blue zone. Denying him it. Just like that. And Zute, yeah, I like, he's just opting to play it safe. Throw them all atop there at that other tree, but it's really up to him right now.
Wait, is that... We saw on the top left, that spectator was on Brazilian Rampage previously. Garcia is still in the blue healing out.
He is! He is! Garcia has been healing this whole time! How many first aids does he have?
And that's another placement.
And yeah, another placement just like that. Now he's at least hit 4th, and top 3 is ridiculous points. You get 10th, at least if you're in you get 10 points if you're in 3rd. Oh, what a nade though from Swagwin. Perfectly placed, perfectly cooked. And that might be another one that might get the finish, puts him down to 1 HP. Oh, look at Team Queso on top.
Tried to crawl into the smoke, but Alpha 7 had the angle. That's our teammate, don't worry about that. But now they are focused up on the west side, because that's where the circle has shifted. And they know that there is 1 member left of the Unnamed, and so they're keeping at least 1 or 2 players with an eye on it. But it's Queso, able to stabilize.
Look at Garcia!
Still 5! No! How many first aid kits does this man have?
He will not go down. He wants to secure top 3 at least. But how many he knows is only a matter of time. The clock is ticking. They have 11 kills, though. They crushed it this match, even if he does go out in 4th place. And we can just see him spamming them first aids. And, oh, my goodness. Here comes the Unnamed. Catches Swagwin in the back. Brazilian Rampage secured 3rd. Unnamed with 4th. And then here comes now Queso in the 2v1.
Yeah, they know how many people are knocked on Alpha 7's side, and so they're able to secure 2nd place right before Brazilian Rampage go out to the play zone. How in the world did Brazilian Rampage get 11 kills and then heal strat to 2nd place? I said Nova was the best team at doing it on average, and I will maintain that, but Brazilian Rampage killed it this time around.
And that is a big game for Brazilian Rampage, especially considering where they're at on the leaderboards right there. I mean, and the heal strat in Vikendi, it's so strong. I've seen it now 3 times in just the past couple of weeks here. I think it's a strat that all these teams need to start utilizing frequently, because those placement points, man, do they come in handy. And one thing, Team Queso, got to give it to them, of course. They did get the chicken dinner here, and with that one, I believe that ties for 9 chicken dinners each with G25.
Honestly, just ridiculous stuff, I think, out of quite a few teams there. Team Queso, did they actually hit 10, or was that their 9th? I don't remember off the top of my head.
That was their 9th.
That was their 9th.
So that should be tied with G25.
Oh, can someone hit that magic 10, the magic double digits? But as you guys were talking about, with Brazilian Rampage and the heal strat, we saw that out of Nova, out of Cat. He had like 17 first aids last week on a Vikendi, and he went up 1 placing, but that 1 placing netted him a lot more points in that match as well. And for Brazilian Rampage, a team, again, not necessarily safe. Every point you can possibly grab right now is huge, and they cleaned up in that last match. And also, you two get to go take a quick break now, because I want to hear what our analysts have to say about it, considering how things have really turned out in that last match. 7 and Glitter, can I summon you back here in a virtual reality? Yes, I can. Look at that. I wish I had those powers in real life. But what a crazy game. I mean, obviously, Queso again, picking up points. Well done for them, but also kind of frustrating at the same time for some other teams out there that were looking to get the points themselves. At least they didn't soak up as much as they had in the past with only 5 kills.
Brazilian Rampage with that game, they just kind of set themselves up towards that safe zone that we're talking about at the beginning of the show. And not only that, by them having such a huge game, they put themselves, I believe, above Cloud9, which Cloud9, at some point here, we're going to have to talk about, because they had, going into that last match, they had 2 extra games played from Brazilian Rampage. This is starting to get really sketchy for some of the teams, as we're able to see there. The total healing... The total healing was 3,600.
I can't.
That's impressive.
Oh my God! Look at the overall rankings.
Yo, wow. This is what we always talk about. You know what? If you can actually go for the healing strat, if you feel like it will be the right choice, go for it, because stuff like this can happen. Brazilian Rampage is gonna end up in first place, Glitter, in regards to just total points for the last match.
That's honestly, it's so impressive. When Execute went down and Garcia was still up, I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy. And then the Unnamed goes down and I was like, there's no way he just got them 3rd place. And then I was watching Queso and A7 fight and I was just like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I don't understand how the man does it. That's just insanity. I mean, Execute was still able to get 8 kills themselves. That's massive for them. Unnamed 5. B4, I feel like the kills outside of literally Brazilian Rampage, they were relatively well spread across the board with all those teams that were up there on the first page. And that was an interesting Vikendi 7.
Yeah, definitely an interesting Vikendi. We were expecting Loops to kind of follow the momentum after that win. They were not able to. We saw XSET pushing in, but I believe it was Brazilian Rampage, and they just got absolutely demolished by them. And I totally agree with what Cameron was saying with XSET. I wish they would have just thrown more stuff into that room to at least try to cause some damage or try to force them to move out and clear out. Ultimately, XSET, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to adjust to this. And stuff like this, you kind of want a teammate to go through it before we get to the finals. Not only XSET, we saw some stuff there with Execute as well. Overall, what a crazy match.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at our crazy Mountain Dew game field moments as well in that last match. And obviously XSET with the 1 point, Wildcard with the 1 point. But not too big of a deal for them, considering XSET should be safe. They passed the predicted bubble point, the safe zone, and Wildcard with that 1 point have hit the bubble at 351 points. So I'm curious if that's going to be enough in the end of things, assuming everyone keeps playing out the way they have before. But you have teams like the Unnamed getting some good points. You had, like you said, Execute getting some good points. And then on the second page, you saw a lot of teams like Meta who desperately need those points, not really be able to get them.
Yeah, I was going to point out Meta as well, because they were only able to get 2 points in this last match. And we are currently watching them fight with Tribe Gaming for 16th place overall for today, right? And so that is definitely going to work in Tribe's favor. We'll see how the next match goes toward after this, you know, these last set of highlights here. But that was rough for Meta. These rankings are starting to get crazy. Like you said, some teams didn't do so well that we thought might do well, like Loops or Wildcard. But we can see in these highlights there were so many engagements that people were aggressive this time around, and I was enjoying it. 7.
I like it. I mean, this is stuff that we were talking about in regards to teams that were not on the top 16, how they were going to have to make choices that they might not be used to. BDM pushing on Loops Esports, that's something that if you would have asked me a couple days back, I would have said, no, that's definitely not going to happen. What are you talking about? What tournament are you currently watching? But we're getting to that stage where those teams are going to become desperate. They are going to have to do crazy stuff like that. And one of the teams that, as we see some of the other highlights here from Swagwin, by the way, Swagwin, if I'm not mistaken, with the beautiful nades that he ended up getting, and also the finishes that he ended up with, what a performance he had as well. I think he had like 3 kills, 624 damage for his team, which is good to have. Another team that we really haven't talked about, and we talked about at the beginning here of the show, was Pittsburgh Knights. We have not seen Pittsburgh Knights at all today, Glitter.
That's actually true. Now they only got 1 kill this time around in this match, and they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were, I think, one of the teams that needed over 70-something points to get into that predicted bubble.
Yep.
And that, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but 1 point's not going to do it.
Well, I can tell you this, if we're, I'll bail them out here. INTZ, they needed themselves 16 points per game average to be able to climb into that bubble from where they currently stand. And that's obviously something you can't expect to happen in every single one of your matches. You basically need a chicken dinner every single time from there on. But there's a lot of teams out there still struggling. And the thing is, with teams becoming further and further away from that bubble, they become more and more desperate, which means they might get more and more aggressive here, 7.
Yeah, and I think one team that you heard me mention there earlier was going to be Cloud9. Cloud9 today, we haven't seen anything out of them. I know they didn't play that last match, and as we're seeing the stats here, oh my gosh. Is this the first time that we see Brazilian Rampage being up in regards to damage? I think it might be the second or third time. But this is good out of them. This is teams that we needed them to step up. Today, we seen them step up. At the beginning of the day, we saw XSET step up and kind of secure a huge win and some extra points there. Now we're seeing Brazilian Rampage as well. Alpha 7 maybe trying to get back to that, closer to that second place. And then Klaze Esports with at least those 2 kills. But going back to what I was saying with Cloud9, I mean, looking at the leaderboard here, I don't want to spoil it for you, but they're currently sitting in 15th place. Only 12 points ahead of Tribe Gaming.
You said 15?
Points ahead.
Wait,
no, 12 points
oh
ahead.
My God. Oh.
15th place?
It's super close. Yeah, in 15th place. And the craziest part is that between Cloud9, Tribe Gaming, and Meta Gaming, they have all played 45 games. And that is so close. Like, what? What?
I don't know what's going to happen. There's still so little games left to go here for a lot of these teams. Like you're saying, imagine Cloud9. I mean, at the start of this whole event, I was like, okay, Cloud9 is going to make it to finals. There's no doubt in my mind. But now that doubt is starting to grow in the back of my head here, and I'm getting really worried for them. But maybe one team we shouldn't be so worried about, Brazilian Rampage. Take a look at some of their stats here as well, because they have been doing extremely well. We can see how they did in 2 matches yesterday compared to their 2 matches today. And they've done, well, as you can see, a lot better.
That's an understatement. What? Okay, they 800 damage to then 2,400 damage. I'm sorry, 3 kills, then 14 kills. Are you joking? Because somehow the damage received is almost exactly the same for both of these scenarios. What?
I mean, there is an asterisk next to this, right? It is only 2 matches, and if you obviously take it like into a larger base of numbers, they would equal out a bit more, but that's the effect that like one day can have, right? With one game, one Vikendi can just shoot them so far up than what they had just yesterday, 7.
And this is what we talked about with all those teams that were towards the safe zone. This is what we talked about with teams that from 13 all the way up to, I believe it was 18. Everything is so close that if you have a game like how Brazilian Rampage was able to do, you gotta shoot up yourself that leaderboard. And honestly, some of those teams need it. Cloud9, Tribe Gaming, Meta Gaming, if they can have a game like what Brazilian Rampage was just able to do, we're gonna see a lot of changes.
Yeah, a lot indeed. But you know what? I'm hearing. We have another segment we want to break down here, a little clip we want to break down here. So why don't you tell us what it is?
I got you, family. It's gonna be Brazilian Rampage. I kind of wanted to highlight the aggressiveness that they were able to showcase there in that last match. So why not show it with this clip here? You see them running in, and this. Remember, if you kind of flash forward a little bit, this actually ended up hurting XSET whenever they tried to do this, whenever they tried to breach a compound. Brazilian Rampage was able to do it in a way that I enjoy. I also enjoy the way Garcia was all the way back there trying to get like an off angle. I really enjoy when they kind of do those 3-2-1 or 2-2 splits. Nothing super crazy. And right here, the way they were able to just execute it, you see both of the players there from 19 Esports getting knocked, whether it was by Grenade or whether it was by Little Boy. Something that I enjoyed here that Brazilian Rampage did not do is as soon as they got the knock, they decided, you know what, let's slow down a little bit. Let's not push up 1 by 1, which Glitter, in the past, we have seen teams do over and over again, just pushing 1 by 1. And then guess what? You also have Garcia now starting to push up. So the communication, the execution was definitely there. You see them picking up sentry. Once sentry actually gets picked up, then you see them getting knocked again. But it was third party. So at that point, you're kind of keeping an eye on it. And then as soon as Garcia gets there, you're starting to realize, okay, now if we want to, we can really push up on the last player of 19 Esports, which is Strix. And ultimately, as you're able to see right there, let me just fast forward a little bit. Go back a little bit more. You see them all pushing up, all working towards just that one goal, and that's why you know what, we're just giving confetti to everybody today. There you go, Brazilian Rampage. What an amazing game you guys had, and I like the patience that they show there. I like that they didn't go just one player at a time, because we've seen that backfire over and over again.
I mean, you must be in a real good mood today, Seven, because you're giving confetti like it's something free and cheap. I mean, that costs a lot of pixels and a lot of money from production side to be able to put those in. Yeah, bazillions of dollars to use something like that. Anyways, though, we're gonna move on from that, and you know what? I'm gonna be nice to you this time, Seven. I promise. We're gonna talk about the Esports Awards yet again here, but this time I'm not gonna have to throw you under the bus talking about it. We're not gonna talk about the fact that you're giving away a gajillion, bazillion UC if people go vote over esportsawards.com/community vote, and then send a screenshot of them doing that over to your Instagram at the 7WG. Like I said, we're not gonna talk about it this time. We're not gonna mention it, and we're gonna head to a short break. And when we come back, we're coming with our final match of the day here on Miramar.
Mountain Dew?
Squads. There's loot on the horizon for however you find victory. For the combat chauffeurs. For those who strike from above or from below. For the experts in pan-to-pan combat. Whether you're taking a leap of faith or just aren't afraid of a close call. Fuel your path to winner chicken dinner with ice-cold Mountain Dew. And with exclusive loot from Mountain Dew fuel stations. Spawning on a map near you.
Well, it's time to head into our next match of the day, as we're going to be going over to the warm weather, which I would love to have right now as it's becoming winter here in Poland, of Miramar with Group C sitting out. So guys, we've got Group A playing, we got Group B playing, we got Cloud9, if I remember correctly, Seven saying in 15th place in this match. This is a big game for a team like that, and I would ask you two this question. I kind of gave my answer. If I said to you at the start of this event, Cloud9 might not qualify for the finals, what would you have said to me, Jukes?
Look, I don't want to talk to you right now. I want to speak on behalf of all the North American fans watching right now. All right, put me on the big screen. Put me on the big screen, okay? Because look, Cloud9, Wildcard, if you're watching this right now, not like this, okay? Not like this. You guys are top 5 teams. Now, Wildcard, I'll give Wildcard a slight pass because they're getting that education, you know, and they've been playing with 3-man rosters here and there, back and forth. I get it, you know, still hurts to see them. It's so close, but Cloud9, come on, guys, come on. Gotta pull it together. I know you like to go and, you know, have pop-off games here at the end, but why do you always gotta bring it this close? 15th place? This is just, how? How did this happen? How did this happen, guys? Tell me.
Well, I do have to apologize to you, Cameron, and to you viewers at home. I didn't expect to trigger him so bad by saying that. Amen, to be fair. Cameron, what about you? What's your thoughts? If I told you that at the start of the event, hey, guess what? Cloud9 might not qualify for the finals, what would you have said?
Man, it wouldn't have been the most shocking team to not qualify for the top 16, because this isn't the first time we've seen them have their own struggles, and then of course there's the expected meta change. But still, I wouldn't have expected it. I would have called you a liar. I would have called you crazy. And I would have thrown you out of my room.
Well, I don't know why I'd be in your room. Because hey, who knows?
That's urgent news. You had to wake me up in the middle of the night for it, because that's big news.
True. I'm just glad that Hot Jukes isn't here, because if I told him that in person, he probably would have slapped me in the face and would have had a big handprint on my face for the rest of the show. But this is the last, don't anger him. This is the last match of today, though, and we still have 2 more days of matches to come, but the order of the matches have changed around a little bit as well in those. We'll talk about that later on today, but I believe it's time to get underway here with our final match of the day. We need to see teams start to step up here, and we need to see it with Hot Jukes and Cameron Davis.
And step up indeed and step up big time. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Match number 4. We're finally getting into the last matches here of the PMPL regular season play. This is so crucial, so important, and we're going back to Miramar now. But then again, Cameron, you know, Cloud9, they sat out of the last one. You know, they love to go to El Pozo. A lot of teams are here, a lot on the line. What do you think so far about this one? Ooh. Oh, look at this playing path.
Ooh. Oh, this could be really bad for Cloud9 because, you can't really see it because we're not showing the map just yet, but if you're seeing where the plane is at, and you can tell it's a little bit southwest focused. It's going right over El Pozo. And the teams that don't want to make that long jump to this northeast side, we could see multiple teams, and already that's 3 or 4 teams dropped out. I don't know how many are going to El Pozo itself. This is a bit clench moment for Cloud9, I have to say.
Here's the problem though, and this just came to me, and I can't believe we didn't talk about it earlier. Are we gonna see teams hunt down Cloud9?
Ooh.
That's the problem. It happened last time. It happened in the World League. We saw it when Cloud9 threw a few games and started putting themselves down the road. Squads hunted them down because at the end of the day, Cloud9, regardless of what anybody says, if they fire on all cylinders and start popping off together, they are without a doubt one of the deadliest teams in this lobby. So if there's an opportunity to kick them out of possibly making it to the finals, I wouldn't be shocked to see some of these top teams start gunning for them.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any targeted hot drops. So Klaze are dropping El Pozo with Cloud9, but they've dropped an El Pozo before. We've actually seen this standoff. There aren't more teams in that area, despite the plane path being very brutal. But if a team gets an initial knock on some random squad rotating in, they see it's Cloud9. Yeah, if it's a team like Loops, if it's a team like Queso, we could see them go extra aggressive. I don't know if we're going to see any specific pointed traps.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because like at the end of the day, you got Team Queso. They have 543 points. I mean, they're almost 100 points away from second place. They have nothing to lose. They can do whatever they want in this lobby at this point. But you know what they can do right now is run away. Marco has to get. Oh, look at Trix. Even blowing Marco a little kiss, saying, "All right, buddy, good luck on that. You know, we're gonna go ahead and go this way. You go that way." Not the best start. Marco opting to hide in this bush right here. Not sure how exactly this drop scenario ended up happening for them, but like I mentioned, I mean, we could, at the end of this day, especially looking at the end score leaderboards going into the next couple final days here of regular season play, if Cloud9 doesn't pick it up in this match and the next one, and they're stuck at like 16th place, I think it's something we could totally see happening.
We could. I'm still a little focused on what's happening over here because Queso and 19, they're both on the edge of the first phase. We saw on the map for a brief moment that it is an eastern shift, almost the exact same phase 1 that we saw in Vikendi. And San Martin is right on the edge. And so the fact that both of these teams are still struggling to get their initial loot rotations working can be problematic once we see the teams coming from El Pozo, coming from further west of there where the Unnamed are looting in. These Queso and 19 might not be in a position to really take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Team Queso, they got no worries in the world right there. 19 is definitely a squad that does. They're sitting in 22nd right now. And yeah, they're like in the same position as Klaze. They need to literally have every chicken dinner going forward if they want to make it into top 16. But right there, they ended up getting their Murado stuck. So that's really unfortunate. Didn't really expect the fight, especially with Trix, you know, blowing that kiss on over at the start of the match, you know. And I think right now, if you're Team 19, I think at this point, I would still, if I was in this game and I was Team 19, I'm like, yo, let's just go for it. Like, let's if we can get a chicken dinner here, then, you know, at the end of the day, never give up, never surrender. At the same time, though, this is a great opportunity for them to possibly hash out any issues that they have and possibly get ready for the next upcoming tournaments in the future. We'll see how they end up playing it out, though. What do you think?
Yeah, again, that all depends on what options they have, and right now, I think they're just focused on getting into a stable position in this server, in this circle. I don't think they might have that conversation in a little bit, but they still need to find their footing here. We're already seeing some rotations through G25 and Los Leones alongside Meta. They don't have to move too far just yet, but I am expected to see at least one of them try and take La Bandita north of here. Rotations in the early game could be a little rough around this area, around the full circle, but I think most teams should be able to find their way in easily. It's just, and I say this every time we get an Eastern Miramar circle, it's the amount of fields that are in play that any sort of phase 2 shift could make things start to get problematic.
Absolutely, and one thing is for sure, Meta and Tribe, they are now tied. as far as with amount of matches played. So they both played 45 matches so far. Tribe's in 16th, Meta's in 17th, quick reminder, and they're only separated by 1 point. And they're both in this lobby right here. So this is going to be another one of those crucial matches for both of those squads right there. Not to mention, you got Pittsburgh Knights right behind you, and they have only 44 matches played, so they have an extra one on top of this. So, oh man, this is getting closer and closer to the end here. The pressure has to be at the highest it's ever been, especially for these squads that are on the possibility of getting knocked out here. And you can see King A, Seagate on his back, just rotating on in, just trying to find the best position to this next zone.
Ooh. Yeah, Tribe circumventing Wildcard's position, making sure they don't get caught out. They know there are teams with Los Leones, but they're trying to get in front of them before the exodus starts to begin. But they have to take information as it comes. They have to go step by step. They don't really have a position right now just yet to be able to find a bunch of information. But here, Sam heard the initial bike, was ready for the follow-up of the rest of Tribe, and that's Telly caught out.
Oh, and the blow-up. Actually catches him with the headshot there at the end. Gabby, G3, he's got that car 9 with the 6X, trying to find an angle, but this is dire right now for Tribe. I think at this point, it'd be tough to try and go and save Telly. You cannot risk going out with 0 points right now. Cannot do that.
You gotta get out. Because Wildcard are on the aggressive, they're on the offensive. In fact, G3 is gonna get caught out as well. Look at the hill that Sam and Enigma are taking.
Oh! Look at that shot, though.
The good start.
G3 with that car 98. That'll open it up for you.
Just leave.
And
just leave. Please leave. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go save your boy. He's out. He's done for. He's dead. Great shot to open up an area of exit for him.
Life-saving.
Still separated from the rest of his team. We still see Tempo on the north there, but this could have been a whole lot worse for Tribe.
Honestly, those are some of my favorite shots to see in this game, where you have to hit that clutch car 98 snipe headshot to be able to save your life, and that's exactly what G3 did there. If he misses that, then Leon's going to have that angle. The rest of Wildcard's going to crush onto him and leave Tribe with 2 players. So to be able to do that, especially where you're at with your point system, all the pressure you have, man, that's just pure unadulterated clutch right there. Love to see it.
Looking over to G25 right now. As they're leaving Los Leones the other way, towards the east side. They're getting a little close to BDM. But we know G25 are not going to shy away from a fight either. Italox here, a little wounded. Don't know exactly how that happened. He's just trying to find some meds to heal up because he doesn't want to use that the single first aid or the single med kit that he has right now. Maybe get some bandages. But he's getting picked up by his boy, by Unico. There's a lot of stacking here on the south side of this phase. We're not seeing too many teams going to the north, which means that Wildcard are going to be in multiple fights here because here comes Influence Rage. Initial damage onto Spring, a follow-up grenade. It's a bit far, but Durso's rushing forward. Wants that knock, and he gets it.
Yeah, nice and far right onto the lap of Spring, and that is going to be a really clean first knock. They catch Sam as well. Influence Rage. I mean, 14th place team just having their way with Wildcard. Oh, NTX, you know he wants those shots back right there. No, that's a tough spray. At the same time, though, they have all the advantage. Can they get the last one? They do. That's another big knock. Only 1 remaining member. Now it's up to Enigma.
Ooh. TX looked like he had an initial angle, but yeah, as you said, Enigma is all on his shoulders right now. Getting surrounded. Can't even get initial damage in his favor. This position just being completely demolished by Influence Rage. And it's not even a particularly strong position that they're coming in from. They're just able to land their shots where Wildcard are not able to, and Enigma is on the retreat trying to hide out. But Influence Rage could easily find out exactly where he is. In fact, they're using vehicles to make sure he can't get far.
They want every point. They need it. They need it. I mean, especially being where they're at right now. And you know their confidence has got to be through the roof, especially taking out a team like Wildcard in such a fashion. Great teamwork right there. Influence Rage, 4 kills to start off this match. And they are in one place. They're in 14th with 313th at the start of this match. Cloud9 is in 15th, 1 point below them. So to start off like that, man, Influence Rage, they want to make it into the finals, and with that kind of start, it looks like they just might.
Yeah.
They keep continue that.
So phase 2 was a medium shift, a little heavy medium shift towards the north. Again, a whole lot of fuel, just east of Hacienda, south of Cruz del Valle. And so a lot of these teams coming from the south are going to have to continue to push north to 25, and Tribe being 2 of them. Tribe find that compound before G25 can get there, so G25 are now just trying to circumvent them, get around them, find a compound, find some place to sort of set their flag, at least for now.
Spotting eyes on the Tribe right there. Those are some just good warning shots saying, all right, you guys stay on that side of the open field. We'll stay on this side here. Uneven is knocked right here from Cloud9, and this is the team we've been talking about. I mean, Cloud9 have now put themselves in a really dire situation here. We do not want to see they don't want to see a repeat of the World League. So they're going to have to make some plays happen. They already lost Adder, one of the top fraggers for their squad, and you can see Bayo, no vehicle, just having to run straight over to Uneven. The problem, though, is 19. They're now on the way to try to get this finish.
Ooh.
Oh, Bayo.
Pick up for 19.
Oh,
You said you wanted them to go aggressive, and Cloud9 need to save themselves.
Your turn.
Potential failure, but tried to go forward. Spotted out 19 pushing in. Pyra, I think, is trying to send some shots long distance. Lands quite a few of them. Actually gets a knock on Asta. So it is going to slow down that push just a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Uneven is way too caught out for them to safely get a revive from Cloud9. So ultimately, Cloud9 are just trying to deal as much damage as they can in preparation for future engagements.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was a spot from Uneven or Pyro, but the second those comms came out to Bayo, Bayo was just like, hut, right on back the other way. And man, that was perfectly timed, because if he didn't spot them in that moment, he would have gotten taken out and eaten up alive by Team 19. So well executed. They did end up losing a member, but it's better to lose 1 than lose 2.
Thanks, John Madden.
Yeah, right, true. Sorry. Right?
No, I mean, you are right. You are right. And it's good for these teams to recognize when a player is lost out of the woods, can't be revived, in order to save as much resources as you can. The circle shift, opposite direction, medium hard shift towards the southwest. A lot of teams already inside, but the question for the teams that are either still coming in from the south, like Nova, or even from the north, what do they need to do to break into this next circle? G25 spots Meta's rotation. Want to try and cut them off, but they're not the only team coming in from the south. So G25, they're in a position potentially to pick up a fair number of points if they can keep the sight lines working in their favor. Because Influence Rage are also arriving. Nova might not be too far behind.
Yeah, you can just see Meta with this gatekeep that they have going on right now. They are in the circle. Influence Rage, though, they have been on a rampage. It's like, I mean, they pushing in from the outside. They've taken out Wildcard already, have 4 points to their name. G25 now is getting into a battle with Meta, and you know that Influence is right around the corner, so that could be a third-party opportunity. And you can just see them throwing nades all in to get these knocks. Trying to throw him through the roof as well. Not able to get the initial knock yet. Quinto might load up another one. Yes, he does, but Luquitas able to move away, but I think Quinto possibly predicted it. Not able to connect the mark yet. Just done. Olex is still way behind there for Meta.
Counter grenades and counter shots. G25 are now, well, they're out of the driver's seat. Meta are the ones defining this fight right now. Quinto immediately removed, not going to give him a chance to revive, leaving that compound. An aggressive maneuver, and it is not working out for a G25. They're not able to find those opening knocks, and that's another grenade coming in. Force forward, still in the smoke, but it's not a good position. It's not a good situation for the Gs.
Italox, how did he survive that? I mean, that nade just bounced right behind him. His life flashed before his eyes, and he's going to have to eat up a whole bunch of more. Pops in the buggy for a second. Here he goes with the med kit. Luquitas is going on this big off angle to challenge him. 1v1. Oh, look at Unico Idu, though. From that other off angle, it doesn't matter, though. Escanor just landing that crucial grenade. And there goes Italox right there. So I think G25, yeah, they're going to have to cut their losses and trying to survive a little bit longer now with only 2 members remaining.
You'd think with those crossfires and those flanks from G25 that they could have gone maybe a little more aggressive, Unfortunately, in the field, they were aware that there was a huge threat of a third party from a separate angle. They're going back to the compound that they just had left to try and regather their bearings. It's inside the circle just barely. Clean your wounds, lick your wounds, and figure out what's going to happen for the next shift.
We'll see. Orlando GG, the kill feed, down to fall damage. Not something that's uncommon, especially in Miramar. A lot of hills, a lot of crazy angles. Seba with the Car 98 getting a nice little headshot. Love to see it. Next circle. Going on up. Yeah, right into Minas Generales and Cloud9 centered up in this one. They are down 2 members, so it's just Pyra and Beowulf. And these two guys, they have been playing together since Season 1. They've played on a ridiculous amount of pro teams. So if there's any duo that can make it happen, it's them. But good luck, because there's going to be a lot of squads hunting for your position.
Exactly. That's such a strong compound for them to be in. The only thing they have at their advantage is that team... I'm holding my tongue because I'm looking at the map, and it's not looking good.
Oh, Ace, though. Getting a little bit of help from BDM Rafa. Oh, but Bayo gets caught trying to transition back. Now it's just Pyra up to him alone to make it happen. The last one alive. But this is, at the end of the day, this is what Pyra does. Pyra always seems to be that last one alive.
Good grenades. They don't find the knocks onto Ace, but it makes sure that Myth cannot push the kill into Beowulf, allowing Beowulf to retreat away. So this is actually a really good recovery for Cloud9 after Beowulf got that initial knock and full kill onto the push from Ace. A little bit of a moment of truce, and Beowulf can get revived here. This could be a lot better of a position, but again, I don't think Ace is going to be the first or the last team to try and take this position.
The longer you're in this engagement, you got to know that third-party opportunity is always open. Great kind of pre-nades, from Pyra to give him a little bit of breathing room here. But here comes Dudu, catching up 1 HP, getting a little bit of help from BDM. Oh, but Ace is just on a rampage. They want to take out Cloud9 here now. Pyra with the reload, though. Drop shot versus jump shot, and it looks like Ace 1 taking out Cloud9. And Team Queso is going to finish up, but I wonder if Ace 1 did that on purpose. I don't think that they, where they're at on the leaderboards, I don't think they cared about going out there. I think they just wanted to get rid of Cloud9.
They might have, or they could just try and go for that central position, sweet, sweet center of the map. And then, hey, there's Cloud9. This is the cherry on top of this whole situation. But unfortunately, Queso, with the high ground overlooking, had the sightlines to finish them all off. There's a number of teams all trying to go into the mines. And this is a very, very tricky position to play around. Spec waiting for the headshot to line up, but cannot get the knock.
He's another opportunity, not able to get it, though. They're going to have to hold down this beautiful, beautiful warehouse right here. Klaze not going down without a fight here. Still trying to do everything they can to be able to have a chance of making it into the finals. They need nothing but chicken dinners, though. We'll see what they can do here as they got all 4 up, holding the edge of the circle. We'll see where this next zone goes. If it does bounce back onto them, I think they got a pretty decent chance. We'll see, though, as it's still closing here. XSET just goes out in 13th place.
Wait, Queso? Okay, come on, timeout here. Queso, I know you like your splits. How in the world do you think that this split, this late into the game, this wide of one, is going to be allowed?
Let me tell you why. First place, baby.
Place. Yep.
First place, baby. That's the answer. When you're in first place with my 100 points compared to second, I think you can do whatever the hell you want. And that's exactly what Team Queso is doing right now, just having their way here in Miramar. Next circle, look at this. In the wide open field, and it's only Ayala from Team Queso in this zone right here. Oh man, this is going to be a tough transition for these teams once again.
I mean, he has teammates grouping up with him, but over here on the east side, BDM and G25. G25 still in it, slowly trying to break their way circle after circle, despite losing those first 2 early on. Only 1 kill, and they're going to need to hold off against BDM to make it any further in this match. Couple of grenades, but Pepito firing back off, but a good, well-cooked one. Finds the right angle that you need to clear someone off of those boxes. And BDM trying to find their own second kill of the match.
There you go. Getting the confirm. They're going to go ahead and pick up all his loot. Unico Ilu is still just kind of hanging on out here. Oh, threw a nade, but it bounced off the tree. Not the best one he could have thrown. And he's just using that intel from his partner that died. And just trying to throw some blind nades to try and get something off. But yeah, BDM, they realize, all right, there's still one member up here. Let's see what we can find. And deciding, hey, you know what? Let's just secure zone first. Over here. Tribe still up. And Tribe, this is going to be a big game for Tribe. They need every kill they can get. They cannot afford to go out early. Nova taken out as well. Man, just teams just dropping like crazy here in this zone shift. Zone 5.
Because where else can you go? Queso had that compound, sent the entire squad there, and they are just living like kings right now. Everyone is fighting each other for even a chance to go face-to-face with Queso, because look how open this is. There is nowhere to safely play from. Everyone is forced into these edge engagements, and they could be so deadly. Klaze still alive, can stay 4 up. But look, Influencer right in front of them. Tempo are still overlooking them. Tribe have an angle as well. It is, I don't know what.
Oh, it's a battlefield right now, going off like crazy. And you can see, yeah, G3 getting a great shot out the vehicle. Here goes Tempo against Influence. They do have the hill priority. A lot of pre-fires coming out. They do lose 2 members, or they are knocked in the process. Durso's going for this really scary revive. Has to try and do something, though, for his team. Can Rain hit this nade? Taps him up pretty good. But now, has to turn on to Klaze from behind. Gives Durso the opportunity to throw some nades back up on him. And we can just see Tempo just trying to get this finish. Oh, that nade could be so disgusting. Takes down Spec.
Oh, J7. Oh, J7.
Influence took out all the Tempo with grenades.
I don't, were those grenades or were they heat-seeking rockets? They knew exactly where to throw them. This is what I was saying the other day. Nades are slowly but very assuredly becoming king here. G25 are also eliminated, 6 teams, and the circle shifts towards the north, but it doesn't matter because it's on Queso. It's on the compound. Pick up, everyone else got the fight over scraps.
They're going to get all the kills here, and especially being in first place, you know that they're going to just stand up with their chest proud and just make it difficult for any team that's trying to move on in. INTZ, this is a team, again, that we're talking about that had a good day so far. They got 6 kills. They need nothing but chicken dinners as well to try to make it into the top 16, but I love to see that even under all this pressure, they're giving it all they got. At the same time, though, man, Team Queso, they got the cherry on top of this position. Look at the sight lines they have.
They are spoiled for choice. They're constantly running around trying to find who they want to shoot at. There's someone over here, there's someone over there, there's someone in that direction. And it's not the clearest sight lines that they have, but they're just making sure that no one get even close to them. Tessin gets knocked by a great grenade. INTZ trying to go for more, though.
Oh, like shooting fish in a barrel. Just Team Queso, they are just loving this zone right now. Tribe, Siga tried to get on a bike at this point. Couldn't get the gas going on it fast enough. He's gonna get taken out here. Gabby G3 still alive for Tribe. Castiel's gonna opt to go for the heal strat here. Don't blame him, especially considering where this position is. And just look at this, like INTZ battling it out with BDM. They're gonna go out right then and there. Oh, Mitz, the nice knock on a Team Queso.
That's one on a Queso, and now that BDM tried to cut in front of them, but they got taken out. This gives them an opportunity potentially to take this away. Queso immediately swinging in their crosshairs, going towards the north. Don't worry about the south. You got to protect yourself from INTZ at the moment, but a counter knock is going to slow it down.
I mean, INTZ, they are coming, and you always got to watch out, though, because G3's sneaking up slowly but surely. He hasn't made any noise, but Nitsume gets a big knock onto Darius. That's huge. Castiel goes out to the blue zone. There's going to be 3 teams remaining. Big placement points are being earned right here, right now. Can Team Queso get the 10th chicken dinner? This will be the only team to do so. G3, yeah, in a 2v1. They're going to clean him up. Boom. Top 2 now. Team Queso versus INTZ.
Queso knew exactly what happened in the south. They were watching the kill feed, and they knew they could send 2 versus 1 to find that final player, because now they can put all of their attention, all their resources on the north. And Ayala going for the wide flank, keeping the grip tight on this game, not letting INTZ have an opportunity to steal it from them. Stalled the push, and are now giving it back. Mitts down, 2 left.
Great knock to open it up right there, and Axel's just running up this hill. They're having their way with it. They may be the first team here to get 10 chicken dinners, and it looks like it's totally possible here. We can see Nitsume with that M4. Getting those shots. Oh, Ayala on top of this hill. Look at the angle he has. Only one member remaining, Vega. And it looks like it's only a matter of time. Done. Chicken dinner. Team Queso, baby. First team to get 10 wins. Wow. What a performance.
It's big. But what's also big is that INTZ make it into second place. Another Miramar game in a row. Listen, I try my best once we were nearing the end of a league, of a qualification process like we are now, to keep up and do like this mental math, at least have a rough estimate. I couldn't tell you. I still don't know how this is going to affect the leaderboard standings. Cloud9, was that enough to try and keep themselves in the top 16? I know we have 2 days left. There's still time for them, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
I mean, but here's the problem though. Now that, you know, we saw it happen in the World League before, if Cloud9 gets stuck in the 16th, 17th position, you leave the door open for teams to start hunting you down and gatekeeping you. This is just going to get insane here at the last few days. I don't know what's going on, but man.
Are you saying it's not already insane, Hot Jukes?
I mean, it's nuts. It's mid-nuts so far, but now it's even getting more insane.
So I'm gonna give you some info here, right? So INTZ, before the last match, they needed, actually before that one, they needed 16 points per game as an average throughout the rest of their matches for them to close in on that bubble, right? In that safe zone.
Okay.
Then in going into that match, they only needed 15.3 points to average because they did better than the average before. They scored over 15 points in that game. They scored, I believe, around 19, which means that points per game average is going to drop even lower. So the amount of times they consistently keep passing that average they need to hit to break into top 16, the more realistic it's going to get. And that's another big finish for them. I mean, obviously, Queso getting 10 chicken dinners is huge, but INTZ, they're closing that distance. They're closing that gap.
Yeah.
Getting close. It's getting close. I'm so hyped.
Okay, well, you know what? You two are done for the day. It's a quick, easy day, only 4 matches. Good to have you guys, and we'll see you back on the weekend. It's time to bring in our analysts, though, to start breaking down some of the things we're talking about here. I mean, Queso, again, that's a big storyline, but I want to hear your thoughts on INTZ. I mean, again, they're so far out at the moment, but there still is a chance if they can keep putting up performances like this, guys. Ow, my finger.
INTZ, I mean, listen, INTZ is not really that much of a storyline for me. You know what is? Cloud9. Because, oh my gosh, if everything's correct, if the math is right,
just wait.
You're gonna be surprised where you see them. I'm not gonna spoil it. But wow. In Tribe Gaming, they needed to have a match just like that to finish off the day. And by the way, they were able to. They ended up with, I believe it was 18 points, or so we're gonna be seeing the match ranking here. And that was a huge game for them. Now, all these teams, now it becomes a mental game for a lot of these teams, as we're able to see there the map ranking. Team Queso, once again, 10 chicken dinners. The first one to break it. For the longest time, we thought it was gonna be G25. Team Queso said, you know what? Hold my Mountain Dew. Watch what I can do. And they got those 10 chicken dinners. But I just want to talk a little bit more about this, because now, Glitter, they're going to have 2 days to go back and think about what's going to happen. The pressure, it's going to be a lot heavier on some of the teams that we've been talking about that were close to the safe zone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're looking at Influence Rage. They had 12 kills and 8 placement points. INTZ, like Jason was saying, they're chipping away at that overall average of points that they need per game. Tribe Gaming was trying to make sure they kept themselves above meta. And if you look at meta, they only got 5 points was when Tribe got 18. So they should have positioned themselves well in the overall standings because of that. BDM Esports was another team that needed to be kind to getting decent points in order to get to that bubble. They got 9, it's not terrible. The Unnamed with 4. They were one of the teams trying to hold on to their positioning. So it's all over the place. It's starting to stress me out, but I feel like this only means that this weekend is going to be crazy, Seven.
Yeah, this weekend, it's going to be definitely by far one of the craziest weekends that I've been blessed to be able to do here with PUBG Mobile Esports. We see the second page there, right there. We're honestly just so hyped up.
We saw it.
How crazy this day has turned out to be. That
Can we not forget about Tribe as well real quick?
Man.
Because obviously we talked about how they got 18 points, but we have to talk about how they got the 18 points. Because if you look back at the very beginning of that match, Telly gets knocked up against Wildcard. And then G3 hits like a long-range car shot. and then immediately takes off, realizing, okay, there's no way we're going to save Telly. The rest of the wildcard team is coming. We have to get away because, again, you have to focus on the end goal. It's not about winning that match. It's about getting as many points as you possibly can. And they played safe. They got the placement points. They got some kills as well, and they got themselves a little bit further up the rankings. As we now take a look at our Mountain Dew Game Fuel moments. But guys, yeah, that's Tribe, I think, playing so smart, and especially in such a high-pressure situation.
Yeah, and I 100%
right here.
agree with you there. We're talking about it. Here we go. They're giving us a chance to look at it. By the way, G3, I feel like overall, he was the MVP. That shot right there was disgusting. And not only that shot, the way he was able to survive at the end and to add those extra placement points, which Glitter, when we were looking at it, we're like, oh my God, keep an eye on Tribe. If they're able to survive a little bit longer, this might actually, these are great points for them. And sure enough, they were able to.
And we were talking about that too, you know, is Tribe changing up their play style a little bit to be a little bit safer and really focus on those placement points. And I think you can see that they are not only exemplified in the fact that they knew that obviously, like Jason was saying, you know, they had to leave Telly behind and just kind of, you know, take that loss for what it was, but not take the risk of any more losses, but in how well G3 did surviving at the end to continue to ensure a few more placement points here and there while the rest of the squads are battling it out. Tribe is doing exactly what they need to be doing with the cards that they're being dealt in the games so far. And if they can continue this through the weekend, I mean, they would be so much safer for that top 16 position.
Yeah.
We can't overstate
so speechless.
like how important it is in that match for G3. Again, like we've seen how little point difference there is in our leaderboards right now in these placings for top 16. That one match, that one play by G3, by the end of Sunday could have been the play that got Tribe into the finals. Like that could be the difference. That one play of like turning and running and then playing for placements towards the end. And that's the thing. All these teams right now are on that line. All those teams are in these situations where one mistake can cost you that top 16. One smart play could cost you, or not cost you, allow you to be in top 16. And I can't even imagine the amount of pressure teams like INTZ are on, where if you have that one mistake, okay, if you're another team, maybe it won't hurt you that bad. Maybe you can still come back the next game and be fine. But for a team like INTZ, who's still so far out of the bubble, who needs over 15 points per game in every single one of their last matches, which basically means like a chicken dinner just in points alone, you can't have that one mistake. So they have to play so flawless in their next 2 days of games if they want to make it top 16. And then they have a couple days off until they have to do it all over again going into our 20-game streak of finals.
And I'm so glad you mentioned the points there that INTZ needs. They would have to triple, or at least, triple their points that they're currently getting. Right now, they're averaging about 5.6 points per game, and you were saying they needed like 15 or something later on. That's going to be a perfect performance every single game, which, I mean, so far it's kind of working. I personally think they might be a little bit too far away, but the good thing about INTZ needing those points, it's going to make it even more nail-biting for us because they're going to stop some of the other teams that are currently within that zone, within the top 16, or trying to get to the top 16 a little bit closer because they're going to be taking all the points.
And again, that's what's so helpful when you have teams like Queso, like you're mentioning, get the wins because they're just absorbing the points and no other teams are getting those, which makes it easier for other teams to continue to move or harder for teams to stay in the top 16. Let's take a look though now at our total damage from that last match. I'm expecting to see Tribe up there a little bit with their 8 kills, expecting to see Queso up there of course as well, and we're even going to see a little bit of action out of Influence Rage. Again, maybe Glitter, we can talk about this for them. This team was all about kills the majority of league play, but only into like the second half of week 3 and now into week 4 have they really been able to work on their placement points and become more of a complete team.
Yeah, and I think we were kind of questioning, when is that going to happen? Because they clearly have the gun skill, right? I mean, I still think that they're managing to stay on track with that top 8 area, top 7 area of their overall rankings when it comes to their kills. They just needed to step up their consistency when it came to their placement points. I feel like they are trying so hard to do that, and they started it a little bit yesterday, but it felt like that there was like this trade-off where they weren't as confident with their engagements when they were focusing so heavily on placement points. And then today, it's starting to kind of come together a little bit better, and they're having a much better combination of the two. And if they can continue that, then they will be solidifying that top 16 position.
All right, well, let's take a look at our top players, I believe, from that last match as well. And we can see Nitsume, Durso, Axel, and Seagate all going to make it into our top 4. But honestly, 2 of those players, 7, I'm not really surprised with.
Yeah, Nitsume and Axel, I mean, we kind of talked about them so much. Heck, we even had yesterday, I think it was at the beginning of the show, we did a segment just talking about those players and all the other players as well from Team Queso. Still, though, their performances. Nitsume, I feel like, honestly, he's been stepping it up again. He's starting to show me some of the stuff that we had seen out of them out of week 1. And that's scary. That's super scary because the other players from Team Queso stepped up even more. I can't remember. I think there was 3 players of Team Queso just fighting for top players overall, which that's, I mean, if you're Team Queso, you're just relaxing, looking pretty. And something also to point out about Team Queso, the last match that Hot Jukes and Cameron were also able to mention, is the split that Team Queso had at the end. Like, usually that's a split that no team would ever take. It goes to speak volumes of the confidence and just the boldness that Team Queso is currently showing.
I mean, I feel like we also do need to give a little bit of credit, though, to Durso. It's now a couple times we've seen him up in our top players for Influence Rage. And Seagout, I had mentioned earlier that when we're seeing an aggressive tribe, Seagout's one of the players that we're looking at for those aggressive plays, and he just made his way up there as well. So just very, very good gameplay overall.
Well, now the question comes, how have our overall standings changed? And Glitter, I'm going to throw this one to you off the bat as well, because I believe 7 wants to talk about something specifically on the 2nd or maybe 3rd page. I guess we'll find out here.
Okay, all right. We'll go through the less stressful portion of this. Obviously, Team Queso holding on to first place still. 10 chicken dinners, finally our first team to hit double digits. 500 and almost 569 points right now. They're pretty much untouchable. They're more than safe. G25, B4, same position. Alpha 7 and Tempo Storm, none of them moving. Positions remaining entirely the same. Loops able to jump up 1 place, Ace 1 dropping down, XSET moving up 1, which I believe actually knocks Wildcard into our 2nd page.
Oh.
But generally, nothing too... oh my god. Nothing too crazy outside of that. 7?
Talk about crazy. I feel like a kid at a candy store right now. I'm so hyped up for the weekend. Look at this leaderboard. You have Wildcard. You know what? Let's not even talk about Wildcard. You had 16th place. You have Cloud9. What? This is something coming into today that we, honestly, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the show, I'd be like, oh, no, you know what? I think they'll be able to maintain that 10 to 12 spot that they've been able to hold. But this is a huge fall off. As you see, Tribe Gaming also being able to move up, the Unnamed moving up, Nova Esports, even though they had some good matches here and there, not good enough. They're moving down. Brazilian Rampage have been having such an amazing match in Vikendi. They're able to move up as well. Influence Rage now starting to come into the placement points. That was just such a huge point for us. The placement points is so good, and they're still able to get some kills. It's not like they're just slacking off. That last match, they were able to get 12 kills, which is one of the only I think 5 teams overall have crossed 200 kills, and Influence Rage currently sitting at 11. They're almost able to cross that. You got XSET, you got Wildcard Gaming. Overall, though, I think right here with Cloud9, that's something that's definitely sketchy, because as we're going to be going to the last page, you're going to see the only difference here between Metagaming and Cloud9 is now just 9 points, Glitter.
And literally, I had said at the top of the show, with Metagaming, we've seen them have these sneaky games where sometimes they can get 9 kills and 1 or 0 placement points. Meta is more than capable of putting up those numbers in kills alone. So that is a gap that they could potentially close if Cloud9 cannot pick it up here a little bit. Then Pittsburgh Knights and BDM not shifting at all in the overall rankings. INTZ actually able to jump up a position after their showing here today, and they're only 11 points behind BDM Esports. So if they can somehow keep up that wild point average, honestly, at this point, I feel like anything can happen with the way the season's been going, so I don't want to count them out yet, but there are some shakeups that I was not expecting.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I feel like going into the very final match of week 4, that final game alone is going to have a team jumping into 16th place and a team falling out of 16th place, which honestly, I'm going to be biting all of my nails off. So I better let them grow right now, because it's going to hurt really badly if I don't. But what we're going to talk about now is something we talked about at the start of the show. It's our safe zone. And we're going to see what teams right now are currently safe or what teams are currently needing points to accumulate into that safe zone. And all is determined off of our predicted bubble at the moment, which we did get all through looking at the average points per game from all teams and then looking at where they would be standing at the end of all matches played. And currently the bubble, it did move up. It's at 354 points. And right now, Wildcard, who was safe to the prior bubble, are actually behind by 3 points.
Yeah, you saw XSET finally being able to move to a safe zone, and I think we mentioned that at the beginning after they got that huge win in Erangel. You have Execute. I mean, even though they haven't had kill switch Glitter, I feel like Execute has actually performed pretty well. And then you have Influence Rage being there. You have Brazilian Rampage having good matches today. Nova Esports, nothing flashy out of them. We keep falling down that list, and then we run into Tribe Gaming, Cloud9, and another one that I was mentioning that I feel like they could become a spoiler for some of these teams. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh Knights because they do have 3 chicken dinners.
See, okay, what's crazy to me though, and I think I'm correct in saying this, Cloud9 has not improved on their point spread with that predicted bubble at all. I think it's actually gotten like 1 or 2 points farther away. Whereas you can see some of these other squads chipping away at it. I'm pretty sure it went down for Execute. It's gone down for Nova. They have a smaller point spread that they're dealing with, but Cloud9's gone the other way, and I'm very, very concerned for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I just checked the graphic from the beginning of the show. Obviously, the number has changed from 354. I think the previous one, it was 346. But at the start of the day, Cloud9 was plus 41 points. Now they're plus 42.
Oh my God.
Dude, that can mean a whole...
It just goes to show...
Go ahead.
That's a game changer. That's an extra kill or something little like that we always talk about that could be so impactful to the overall standing. That 1 point can make a huge difference. And 1 point, it's pretty much, oh my gosh, Cloud9, what's going on?
I mean, we talked so many times about just getting that 1 extra kill and what it can do to change your fate going into the rest of these games and obviously in our top 16. But you know what? That's going to have to wrap up our day here. But before we go, I want to remind you guys at home, the Esports Awards are still going on right now until the beginning of November. You can vote for the Esports Mobile Game of the Year award. And we already know what game you're going to be voting for, so I don't even need to tell you, but I'm going to tell you anyways. It's PUBG Mobile. You can head over to esportsawards.com/community vote. And again, I'm not going to mention it. I'm not going to mention the fact that Seven's going to be giving away a bazillion, gajillion, trillion UC points if you go send him a message on Instagram at the 7WG saying that you guys did vote with a screenshot of that as well. It'll be drawing 1 lucky winner at the end of the finals. But that's not going to happen. I'm not going to mention it. But what I'm going to mention is you two, I won't be able to see you for 2 days. But when I do see you next, it means we'll have 2 days straight to find out who our top 16 teams are going to be. And every team is not going to be enjoying these 2 days off right now. Sorry, if you're outside of the top 8, you're not going to be enjoying these next 2 days off because you better be grinding, you better be focusing.
Yeah, the pressure some of these teams are going to have on, and something that I kind of wanted to mention before we leave, is that are we going to have any of the top teams maybe try to hunt down Cloud9 now that they see them?
Oh, don't do week 3 of PMWL
God.
again. Don't tell me teams are going to do that. They could. Oh,
it's possible.
Oh, man.
If I was a top team, oh, you best believe I'm hot dropping Cloud9. Listen, I love the guys at Cloud9. I love Uneven, Beowulf, everybody over there. But this is something that they got to keep in mind going into the weekend. Some of these teams,
it's dirty.
Yeah, so G25 Gaming, they got nothing to lose, especially Team Queso. Team Queso's got nothing to lose. They have such a huge lead that they could see maybe some hot drops.
I think that's fair, though, Glitter. Out of all the teams right now, like still fighting for that position, Cloud9 is going to be one of those teams that is used to playing in a final situation, is used to playing under the pressure of needing to perform in those 20-set games. But maybe the upside for them is they've had this happen in World League against them. So they know what to do.
I mean, their experience, right, yeah, their experience is definitely going to be beneficial as far as handling the added stress, knowing what to do in these types of situations, potentially being able to maybe alter their gameplay in response to what is going on. But, God, I mean, I hate to say it, but I do kind of agree with Seven that it could be possible only because this is the flip side of all that experience. Everyone in this league knows how good Cloud9 can be, how good they have been, how much knowledge and experience they have under their belt. And while that's good for them trying to recover from this type of a situation, it does also paint a pretty big target on their back.
You know what? I'm going to talk to Beowulf over these next 2 days and ask him if this is something that he has to think about or he's even crossed his mind, because now 7 is giving me nightmares and I'm going to be really worried for some of these teams out there who might be trying to make it in. But you know what? I want to let you guys go, because the quicker you guys get out of here, the quicker I get to see you again to kick off our last 2 days of week 4. And you guys, honestly, with what we've already had unfold here in week 4, you're not going to want to miss the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, our last 2 days here of league play before we get into the finals. And that means there's 2 days left for all the teams to get into that top 16. We'll see you then.